How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a story time for you guys that I really think you'll enjoy because I think most of you guys enjoy games, at least to a little bit. I know at least I enjoy Minecraft, as you're seeing in the background. And today's story takes place back when I was in 5th grade and I went to a summer camp. And one of my friends at the camp really liked this girl, and this girl basically said no to him and said that I said no to you because you play games and I hate gamers and gamers are disgusting. That's basically what she told him. But at the end of the story, there's a pretty crazy twist that really does make the whole thing worth listening to, so I do hope you guys enjoy. And if you don't want to be called disgusting by your crush, subscribe to the channel with notifications on because you won't see my stories otherwise. And also leave a like on the video as I'm feeling generous today and will give you nothing in return if you do so. And yeah, let's hop right into the story. So as I said a little bit in the beginning of the video, I went to this summer camp for 2 weeks when I was in 5th grade. And so I got there and I didn't really know anyone there. And in the very beginning of the summer camp, there was a lot of icebreaker activities. At this time in 5th grade, as you guys might know from some of my other story times, I was a big fan of Minecraft. I kind of didn't really play it that much in like the beginning of high school, but definitely like 5th grade, 6th grade, I was a big fan of it. And a lot of my school friends and I would spend a lot of time talking about it. We would play it. It was really just a really good time, just a fun time. Also, my friend was a big fan of Mega Walls at the time, if you remember that game. That has a lot of memories to me. Anyways, though, I'm at this camp, right, and I don't know anyone, and there's an icebreaker activity. Basically, the icebreaker activity goes along the lines of basically someone can basically say something that they like or they really like, and then basically anyone else who like also enjoys that subject matter can like come to the middle and like, you know, talk to the people and like hang out with them or whatever. So the game was played a little bit and there was some kind of like generic stuff like I like ice cream, I like dogs, and it's like, yeah, I like ice cream, I like dogs, and I went to the center for those, but because it was so like broad and generic, like half the, like if not more than half the people went to the center, so it wasn't super helpful. Basically, then this one guy comes to the center and he basically says that he really likes Minecraft. And now this one was a bit more specific, and while Minecraft was super popular at the time, it was really only like 4 to 5 guys who went to the center, and I was one of the 4 to 5 guys. And because this was kind of a smaller group of people, the thing is, those actually became my friends during the 2 weeks at camp. I'm actually still somewhat in contact with like a few of them. But basically, those 4 to 5 guys are the kind of the main friends I have at the camp. And one of them is one of the main protagonists at the camp as well. And his name is Will. So my other, like, you know, the other 4, or I think it was like, yeah, the other 3 friends at that time, because there was like 5 people in the center. One of them was me, one of them was Will. The other 3 friends, they still play a role in the story, but like not big enough that I should give them a name and then get confused. So if they say something, I'll just say one of my friends said, and this assume it's not me or Will who said that. So we kind of form a little friend group, and it's not like a clique or anything. If anyone wanted to be friends with us, they could, but you know, we kind of like, we started talking about Minecraft. We started talking about like our favorite things to do, if there are any servers we like to play on, like basically our thoughts of what they should add, all that. Is Hero Brian real, you know, all that good stuff, man. But anyways, right, so the day goes on and like there's a nighttime activity and we're just still sticking together. And right, so you know, we've kind of formed a friend group, and we really like Minecraft, but we're also kind of known as like the group of kids that went to the center who said that they really liked Minecraft. I'm not saying that like everyone else like didn't like it, but we were like the five of us. We were like the 5 kids that were like known to be the kids who liked Minecraft, because we all went to the center and then afterwards everyone always saw us together. So that was kind of a reputation, which was very fair, if I'm going to be honest, because that's like all we talked about, man. That's kind of all we talked about. Anyways, so a couple days into the 2-week-long camp, my friend Will comes back to us and tells us about this girl who he met at one of these kind of like camp activities. And this girl's name, let's just call her Sarah, right? So, you know, Will basically was like, you know, he was at one of these activities and we weren't there because during the day, you know, they kind of choose what you do half the time, like for the activities. Some activities you just kind of can go to with your friends, but a lot of these activities, right, you kind of have to go to with like, you're assigned them and it's kind of whoever you meet, which is good because if you don't really have like a group of friends there, it's always an opportunity to meet people. So it makes a lot of sense, right? But anyways, while he was there was this new girl there. Her name was Sarah. And he was like, yo, I really like this girl. So obviously we were super supportive and we're like, okay, man, you're totally gonna get Sarah. Don't even think about it. Like, we got you. Like, we'll come up with something. Like, we got your back on this. And it was kind of fun, man. Like, it's always fun when you're like, especially like back when you're a little kid, your friend had a crush on someone. You're like, ooh, right, right, right. And then you're like, okay, let's come up with a plan, guys. And then you make it all serious for no reason. We're like, okay, time for a top secret meeting, right? So we all got into we had to like check the room, we had to go in there, we got like a whiteboard, we're like, all right, what's the plan? Basically, we sat down and we decided that the best course of action would be that Will would go and talk to her the next day, because there were kind of like free period like times. There's like lunch, and then there was kind of like a recess type thing where basically you could go hang out with whoever, right? And so even if he didn't get her in another one of these activities, because that was kind of like randomly selected and we didn't want to play the odds game, especially since we had such limited time at this point, and we just didn't have enough time to like really like, we couldn't bet on that. Basically, we wanted him to go up and talk to her one more time, and then after that basically admit how he feels and ask if she wants to do something after camp, because this camp was kind of held locally. It wasn't an overnight camp, it wasn't a sleepaway camp, and basically at the end of the day, like, you went home, so maybe they could go see a movie or something. But basically, we wanted him to talk to her one more time, and then kind of, pull the trigger and see what we can do, right? So the next day, Will eventually gets the courage to talk to her, and it's recess period, so we don't all go up to talk to her with him, but we're like far enough away that we're obviously like, well, we didn't think was obvious. In retrospect, we were kind of looking, laughing, and maybe we were pointing, so maybe it was a little obvious, right? But at the time, we thought we were far enough away that like she wouldn't notice that we were watching, and we were basically looking at what was happening, and from our perspective, it looked like it was going really well, because Will was talking to her and she didn't, like, I don't know, run away. I guess the fact that she responded was like a win enough for us, which I don't know what that says, but that definitely hey, she responded to him. That was good enough for us. We were like, okay, he's got this in the bag. So the next day rolls around and we're like, okay, bro, okay, Will, it's finally the day. All you got to do is ask her out on a date to the movies. Like, how could it go wrong? You guys spoke once. That has to be good enough. Of course, 5th grade logic, but whatever, man. It was what it was. So anyways, right, so we're outside at recess, and we don't want to, like, crowd him. So we do the same thing. We stand away far enough that, like, we can kind of see what's going on, but we can't actually hear what's going on. And we see Will go up to her. We see him get her attention. We see him say something. And then we see Sarah's face, and it looks kind of amused. And I was like, okay, amused is better than angry or crying, but amused isn't exactly what we're looking for here, you know what I mean? So Will looks a little defeated, and we're like, okay, this can't be good. So he comes back, and basically we're like, okay, dude, what happened? And he just looks at us all defeated like, I don't really want to talk about it. So you already knew, like, right away that it wasn't going to be good. So basically, we didn't ask Will about it for a second, but by the end of the day, before we left, he was like, guys, okay, let's talk about what happened. I think you guys at least deserve to know. Just TLDR, didn't go well, so just be heads up for that. So we're like, oh man, we're sorry about that. But then he told us the details, bro. Goes on to explain that Sarah said, no, I will not go on a date with you. I don't want to go on a date with someone who's a gamer like you. You're known as one of the Minecraft kids, and I would never be caught going out with someone who is one of the Minecraft kids, so no. Basically being extra rude about it, basically saying that, like, because he played Minecraft, because he played games, she would never go out with him, basically. This sounds a little cruel and petty, but remember, this was 5th grade. Even for 5th grade, to be fair, this was cruel and petty, but remember, it kind of not expected, but, like, this isn't, like, high school or college. This is still middle school, but at the same time, man, even we thought this was a little mean back in the day. You might be thinking, wow, this is kind of a sad story. Let me just say that, it gets a lot better. There's a pretty big twist, but before I get into the twist, if you made it this far into the video, comment door down below, like the thing that you enter a building with, like a door. I just want to see how many people made it this far into the video, as I really do appreciate people watching my videos all the way. So basically, the next day rolls around, and somehow we figure out that Sarah has a thing for this other guy at this camp named PJ. I think I was telling one of my other friends there who was like friends with Sarah about the whole thing that went down, and she basically explained, she said, "Oh, that's so tough. Like, I don't know why she was mean about it." Then she also said something about how Sarah had a thing for PJ so that Will shouldn't feel bad because, she probably wasn't going to go out with them, video games or not. And I was like, okay, that's good to know. And funny enough, so the day goes on and we're actually in a group. And this is one of those kind of like group activities where you're assigned. And we got pretty lucky. All my friends and I were in the same group. And then also PJ was in the same group. So we're talking to PJ, and he's actually a pretty cool guy. And I don't really explain to Will that, Sarah has a thing for him since, like, I just learned it, and we just met the guy, and I was like, he seems cool enough, right? Like, and I didn't want to open, like, old wounds or anything. So I was just like, okay, like, whatever. I told him eventually, but in the beginning, it was just like we were just chilling with them. It was a good time. And eventually, the topic of like Minecraft comes up, and PJ admits that he actually is also a pretty big fan. I don't want to say admits, man. He was proud about it. He enjoyed it, right? The only person who really seemed it to be like something you'd want to admit would be Sarah, bro. She's the only person who really thought it as something as like shameful or something. I don't even know. But anyways, PJ admits that, he also plays Minecraft. So, we talk about that, and we actually kind of bond over that, man. I'm going to be honest. Like, the thing is, like, he actually kind of joined our group afterwards. This was about a week in, so we didn't have a ton of time with him, but it was still kind of nice, right? So the next couple of days, so we had a weekend break, and we talked to him a little bit over that. And then when we came back the next week, we hung out the first couple of days together. The next week, he was kind of like now part of our group or whatever, because we all kind of enjoyed Minecraft, right? And just so you know, over the weekend, I did tell Will, I'm like, hey, by the way, I found out that Sarah, also likes this PJ guy, so just be aware. I hope it doesn't matter. And he said, yeah, no, it really doesn't matter at all. He was kind of over the whole Sarah thing anyways. I mean, we were just at camp. We were in 5th grade. Minecraft was obviously much more important to us at the time. So we're all sitting at lunch one day, and I see Sarah walking up to the table that we're sitting with, and it's me, my friends, Will is there, and PJ, who is now one of our buddies too. He's also sitting at the lunch table, and he was kind of facing behind her, so he didn't really see her coming, and I was just thinking to myself, okay, man, this is going to be interesting. What's about to go down? So Sarah came up to PJ, and, apparently they've been talking a little bit throughout the last week or so. PJ wasn't aware of the whole Will thing, which we just didn't think was necessary. Like, at this point, he was over it. We were over it. It would have just made drama. But Sarah had been talking to PJ for a little bit, and then Sarah, while just kind of standing there, after a little bit of small talk, was like, while Will was there, she knew Will was there, so this was a little bit extra cruel just because of that fact. But Sarah basically goes to PJ and says, hey, do you want to maybe go to the movies tonight? And it was a Wednesday. And then PJ looks at her and says, sorry, I got plans. I'm actually going back and playing Minecraft with these guys. Sarah was like, okay, and left. And while we didn't explain to PJ why that was probably the best, most incredible thing he could have ever done, and why Will probably loved him 10x times as much as he did before. We couldn't explain it to him, but bro, I was looking at Will's face after that. He was just sitting there, and he was just smiling because this girl basically rejected him because, oh no, he played Minecraft. And then all of a sudden, the guy of her dreams rejects her to go play Minecraft with Will. And it was a good way to end the camp. And we had no more drama for the rest of the camp. We had a good last couple days together, and some of us even still talk to this day, which is pretty cool. Anyways, guys, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to support the channel, all you got to do is watch another one of my videos. There's a chance that you'll see some videos on screen right now, and if not, just go ahead and click on my channel. But also feel free, if you want to watch more Storytime videos, to click the Storytime playlist on screen. And if you don't see it for some reason, Storytime playlist will also be linked in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. I really do appreciate it. Leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, peace. Today we got a story time of these Karens, not even just one Karen, but a bunch of Karen moms coming together and trying to ban video games in the town. It's an absolutely crazy story. I know you will enjoy. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's call today's subscriber who submitted this story, let's call him Finn. So anyways, right, Finn was in 5th grade, and at this time in 5th grade, one of the most popular games was Fortnite. I remember back when I was like freshman in high school, Fortnite was becoming so popular. I never personally played it that much, so I might be describing things a little bit inaccurately, But dude, it was absolutely huge, and I remember it. All my friends were playing it. Everyone in the dorm was playing it. It was crazy, right? Anyways, so Finn just downloaded Fortnite, and he got on with his friends, and it was, the first time getting a win with his friends. Is something like that in video games. That stays with you. That sticks with you for life. But anyways, Finn was really, really getting into it. And a lot of his classmates were also really getting into it. And we're going to call the other classmate that is like pretty integral to this story or integral. I got calculus on the mind, I'm sorry. We're going to call him Jake. And instead of calling him Ben, we're calling him Jake because Adventure Time, Finn and Jake. Anyways, right, so Finn, he's playing a lot of Fortnite. And one of these days, he's playing Fortnite, he's on with the boys, he's on with Jake, and his mom comes up the stairs, and she's like, all right, Finn, like, time for dinner. And, moms don't understand that when you're playing a multiplayer game, like I'm playing Bed Wars right now, I can't pause the game, bro. You can't just pause the game. It doesn't work like that. So Jake said, all right, I'll be down. Just give me a second. And she's like, Jake, the food's getting cold. And at this point, right, it was Finn, Jake, his other boys. They were closing in. They were about to win it, right? And he's like, all right, Mom, just give me a second. And at that point, right, Finn's mom actually did let him, finish the game. But she was getting a little bit upset. She was getting a little bit upset because she was like, wow, Finn's playing a lot of video games, and he's not coming down when I'm asking him to. So anyways, right, Finn and Jake, eventually, they win the game. It's, victory royale. They're having a good time. And Jake gets off. He said, all right, man, I'll be on in 20 more minutes. So Jake walks downstairs. And he sits at the dinner table. And his mom is sitting there. And she's like, Jake, I think we have to have a little talk. And Jake, here's the thing. Whenever your mom or dad or some, kind of parental type figure or figure of authority says, we need to talk, it's never like, hey, we need to talk. You're awesome, bro. All right, go back to whatever you're doing. I just wanted to say you're awesome. No, it's always like, yeah, so you're not allowed to play video games ever. Or, yeah, you're getting an A in the class. I need an A++, or you will die. It's always something extreme like that. So Jake was a little worried. He's like, yeah, Mom, what's up? And his mom's like, hey, Jake, I think you've been playing video games a little bit too much. I just want you to know that I think you're playing a little bit too much. And Jake's like, oh, okay, well, I'm really not playing more than any of my friends are. And that was probably the worst response ever because Jake's mom was kind of like that planted a seed in her head to think, wait a minute, so it's not just my son who's being, trapped by this evil video game. It's probably the son of other parents too. So Jake had no idea what he just did. He finished dinner. He's like, all right, Mom, I'm going to go back upstairs. And Jake was kind of expecting his mom to be like, you're going to be down here and, I don't know, do your homework or not go back to those video games or whatever, right? But instead, Jake went upstairs and no problem because Jake unwittingly probably started one of the weirdest couple weeks in his life. Because after that, once Jake went upstairs, his mom went to Facebook. Oh, God, Facebook, yes. The place that all the mothers go to congregate and spread fake news. It just is what it is. So Jake's mom starts contacting all the other parents or all the other moms, because mostly the moms on the Facebook. My dad doesn't even have social media. He's like, social what? But anyways, right, Jake's mom contacts all the other moms on Facebook of, his Jake's classmates, other kids in the neighborhood, because the school they go to is basically just the kids in their neighborhood. And they're like, oh, have your sons been playing this Fortane as well? Yeah, and they're like, yeah, this at night game or whatever, or the fortress game, or I don't know what it's called, man. They're playing it way too much. They're playing at least 10 minutes a day, which is ridiculous. Back in my day, insert incoherent rambling as it normally goes. But yeah, anyways, Jake, while all this was happening, was just happily playing Fortnite upstairs with the boys. And so the next day, they go into school, and Jake meets up with Finn. Or no, Finn. Have I been oh my God, have I been calling him Jake the whole time? If you're new to the Connor Pugs YouTube channel, me mixing up names, even when there's only 2 names, is extremely common. So if I called the kid Jake for the last 10 minutes, I meant to call him Finn. Jake is the friend of Finn. Finn is the main character who submitted the story, whose mom was just on Facebook. Anyways, just to make that clear, so Finn goes into school and he meets up with his friend Jake, and Jake's like, bro, like my mom, like I was like overhearing my mom last night, and she was talking with my dad, and she said that, you know, my mom and your mom, as he points to Finn, referring to Finn's mom, who went on Facebook and started this whole thing, and all the other moms in our neighborhood and all the kids who go to our class, they're gonna band together and submit something to City Hall to try and at least temporarily ban video games. And at this point, Finn was like, is that even allowed? And, you know, Jake's like, I don't know. My dad was like talking to her last night saying that it might be hard to regulate that. So then my mom then said that maybe we should go to the school and make it banned somehow from there. And at this point, you know, Jake and Finn were kind of sitting there like, oh my God, like our parents are actually going to try and destroy the one thing that brings us joy every day. So basically what Finn and Jake do is they go around and they start talking to the other people that they play Fortnite with, and they ask, hey, like, have you heard anything from your parents? A lot of them said no, but quite a few of them said, yeah, I heard my parents were talking to me last night about how I've been playing too many video games, and it was all very coordinated. So when Finn, you know, goes outside because the school is over and gets picked up by his mom, he gets in the car and he's like, hey, and his mom's like, hey, how was today? And he was like, good. Are you starting a Facebook group to try and ban video games? And after Finn said that, it was like quiet for like 5 seconds, but those 5 seconds felt a lot longer than actually 5 seconds. And after those 5 seconds or so, Finn's mom was like, Finn, the other parents and I have been talking, and we really just don't think that, you know, the amount of video games you and your friends have been playing is healthy. So we're coming together and we're forming a coalition of mothers against video games. And Finn was just like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me, bro. You seriously gotta be kidding me. And Finn's mom goes on to say, like, we tried to like draft some legislation for City Hall, but I don't think that they can ban it. But we're talking with the school administrators of making video games like a punishable crime that, you know, they will punish in school and we will report to them. So basically, if you're caught playing video games at home, that, you know, we will like report it to the school, and then the school will give you some sort of in-school punishment for it. And at this point, Jake's like, or Finn is like, Mom, like, is it really that big of a deal? Is it really like that bad that I'm playing games with my friends in my free time? And the mom's like, and Finn's mom's like, well, back in my day, my friends and I used to go to the mall. We'd see each other in person. Finn, you just don't understand. We're doing this for you. I don't take any pleasure in this. I know that you enjoy it, but I'm doing it for you. Which, yeah, just because you don't understand something means that you should somehow regulate it. Cough, cough, crypto market. Anyways, right? So at this point, right, Finn is just like, okay, and he asks his mom, so is it a thing yet? And she said, no, we're submitting a draft to the school tonight, and it will definitely take a few days to go into effect if it's going to happen. But no, it's not a thing yet. So at this point, Finn knew immediately that Finn, his boy Jake, and everyone else that he was playing with, they needed to come together and somehow write up a counter proposal. They needed to get ahead of this. They needed to explain to the school administration why this is ridiculous and why this shouldn't be a thing. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, comment Fortnite down below, because this is the game that happened to be in question in this video. So if you made it this far, comment Fortnite, and I will heart your comment just to say thank you for making it this far. I can't heart all the comments, but I will do my best. And also, if you want to support the channel as I'm posting again, I might even be doing 3 videos today. I'm really excited to be back at it. If you want to help me get back into the algorithm, which YouTube's not liking me so much right now, but if you want to help me out, just binge watch a bunch of videos in one sitting, maybe play some video games and have these videos on in the background or anything like that. And if you do this, please let me know in the comment section so I can say thank you and heart your comment, and just so I can know, and just so I can say thank you somehow, because I really do appreciate it. Finally, if you want to submit your own stories, because these are all user-submitted stories, you can do so either in my Discord server, which is in the description, but I'm more likely to... most of these stories are from my Instagram account, so go follow it. It's up on screen, and DM me your stories, and even if you don't have stories, just go ahead and follow it. Anyways, let's get back to the story. So right at this point, Finn, goes upstairs once as soon as he gets home, hops on Discord or whatever site that they used to talk to all, Jake and his friends, and he calls up Jake. And he's like, Jake, we have to act fast. And Jake's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I was talking to my mom. There's an actual proposal. They're sending it in tonight, and we probably only have a couple days to make our counter case before it goes into effect. And then Finn goes on to explain to Jake all the details of what's going to happen. And Jake's like, so our parents are going to rat on us if we play video games at home and we're going to be punished at school? And Finn's like, yeah, man, it's terrible. It's terrifying. We need to sit down and we need to get ahead of this. So anyways, Jake is like, all right, well, we need to get together everyone else who plays with us. So we just got to brainstorm something good. So they get into a big Discord group chat and they start adding everybody, and all of a sudden, so Finn types up a big long paragraph about what's happening and what they got to do. So he sends that, and then he starts a call, and most of the people added to the group chat immediately join the call, and it's like everyone in his grade who plays Fortnite or video games or whatever, they're sitting there and they're like, all right, we got to brainstorm, we got to figure out a way to prove to our parents that we can play video games, it's not bad, and also not to implement this crazy rule. So they sit down and they think, all right, first thing we want to say is there's no proof that a little bit of video games is actually that damaging. And the next thing we're going to say is that a lot of us, we can't always meet up to hang out with each other in person every single day. And through video games, we're able to do this for a little bit every single day and keep our connections. And it's not like we don't hang out, because the thing is, a lot of them actually did have they went over to each other's houses, play dates, sleepovers, whatever. The in-person element was still true. In fact, they were just able to hang out more because of the video games. And then they also said the final argument that, having their parents spy on them and then report it to the school was intrusive, felt like a violation of, and also felt like a violation of privacy, and totally broke the when I leave school, I'm going home, and when I leave home, I'm going school, and it kind of blended going to school, kind of blended the two together, and it just made things very uncomfortable. So they drafted up a proposal. They typed it as nicely as they possibly could for fifth graders. I mean, they're fifth graders, man. It's not going to be like, oh my God, this is the greatest work of English ever created. But you know what I mean. And so they finish up the proposal, and then they're like, all right, let's submit it. So they find the emails of the principal, school administrator, they copy their teachers in on it. They just want to get everything in on it. And they hit send. And all they can do is wait. And so the next day, they go into school, and the principal, on the loudspeaker or however to get the attention of all the people who submitted the email, saying, we need to talk to Finn, Jake, and then the other names. And so Finn, Jake, and all the other names got up and went to the front office. And they all sat down, or some probably stood, because I don't know how much seating there was. And the principal's like, we received an email message from a lot of your parents, but we also received your message last night, and we read both of them, and we've had a lot of consideration and thought, and we just wanted to talk to you about what our verdict was and why we chose what we chose. So they're all sitting there incredibly nervous, right? They're all just like, oh no, man, they definitely didn't choose us. They wouldn't be phrasing like this if they chose our thing, oh no, dude. And the principal is like, we've decided that we will not be going along with your parents' proposal. We agree that it should be up to your parents how they choose to discipline you when it comes to the amount of time you spend online, and also it would be an invasion of your privacy. Do you guys have any questions? Finn, Jake, and all the kids were just sitting there completely speechless, and we're like, no, that's great. So as they're walking out, it's like a movie scene. You got the victory music on the background. They're walking out, slow motion, explosions. They got the aviator sunglasses on. Big victory for the boys. You'll love to see it.
Click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it. Do it.
How's it going, everyone? I hope you're having a good day, because today we have a story of a kid who steals from his own father to buy video games, but obviously there's a bit of a twist at the end. It isn't just like that, so sit back, relax, subscribe if you're new, and we're going to call the protagonist in today's story, we're going to call him James. So anyways, this all happened back when James was in 2nd grade. And during this time, it was when Lego Star Wars was one of the most popular, and it is one of my favorite games of all time. But anyways, all of James's friends were getting the new Lego Star Wars game for the Wii, and James already had a Wii, and he had other Wii games, but since he was only in 2nd grade, he really didn't have that much money to his name. Sure, he got $10, maybe $15 from people for a birthday, or I don't know, something like that, but he wasn't old enough to do any side jobs or to really get any money of his own. So he was kind of at the disposal of his parents, choosing, to buy him a game or to not buy him a game. And his parents had just recently bought him another game that was for the Wii, and unfortunately, James didn't like it as much as he thought he was going to like it. And when he asked his parents for the new Lego Star Wars game, because all of his friends were just getting it now and they were super excited playing it, his parents said no. They told him that, he can get one later, but they just bought him a game and he needs to be patient. And the thing is, right, James didn't want to be patient. He didn't want to wait, which, I can understand. Your friends have a video game, your friends have Lego Star Wars, but at the same time, you'll get it eventually, and I can definitely understand the parents trying to teach James a lesson that you can't always get what you want, and that's a very, very important lesson that kids that grow up to be the most messed up adults normally aren't taught that lesson correctly. Anyways, James is really upset about this. He doesn't show it to his parents, but he goes back to bed and he's really angry. And he's like, I don't know why my parents won't let me have fun. I don't know why my parents won't let me, play games that my friends are playing. I'm not going to be able to talk to any of my friends at recess. I'm not going to be able to do any of that with them because of this, because of my parents. This is so terrible. And that's when he remembers, he knows exactly where his dad keeps his wallet, because at the end of the day, his dad puts his phone, his keys, his wallet, he puts them all in the same place in the kitchen. There's a little bit of a counter in their kitchen, and his dad always puts his wallet and keys and phone or whatever in the same place so that when he wakes up in the morning, similar routine every single day so that he won't forget anything when he goes off to work. James also knows that his dad, keeps money on him and bill for him, and James knows that the new Lego Star Wars game only goes for about $15, $20 or so. And if James was to get a $20 bill, he would have a couple dollars. He has a couple dollars himself that would be able to pay if there's any taxes or anything like that. Yeah, James is already thinking about the extra tax on top of it. He was kind of a smart kid. Unfortunately, though, James did make a pretty big mistake. And this was all possible because within walking distance, there was I think a GameStop type store. This all happened a while ago. It's been a while since Lego Star Wars was super popular. And this was back when GameStop was still pretty popular, or a GameStop equivalent store. And since it was walking distance, legitimately walking distance, a 5-minute walk from his house, James could easily go out of the house, go over there with the stolen money, buy the game, and then come back, and his parents wouldn't know. Because he can't say, hey, mom and dad, can you drive me to the store where I can use your stolen money to buy a game, which I obviously don't personally have enough money to buy? Yeah, that would not fly for sure. So anyways, one night, the day before, his friends were talking so much about this game, and James was kind of getting a little bit extra jealous, and it really just pushed him over the edge. So he decided that tonight was going to be the night. So James, he's sitting in bed, and he's waiting for his parents to go to bed, because James has a bedtime of 9, and his parents tend to watch some TV afterwards, and they go to bed 10:30. So James is just sitting there, looking at the clock, waiting for his parents to go to bed. And that's when he hears the TV turn off. He hears his parents, go brush their teeth or whatever, and go into their bed. It's about 10:45, waiting about 5 to 10 minutes, he sneaks out of his room and walks downstairs. He's walking down the stairs very carefully because he doesn't want to step on one of the steps incorrectly and have it creak, and then his parents are like, oh, who's in the house or whatever. And he goes downstairs, and he's in the kitchen, and he's about to approach the wallet when he looks up, and he sees his dad, and he jumps, and his dad jumps a little bit too. He's like, oh, James, why are you down here? And James, is like kind of taken off guard. But he sees that his dad has a glass of water in his hand because his dad came down to get a glass of water. And James is like, "Hi, Dad. Sorry, I'm just thirsty." And, and James's dad looks at his own glass. He's like, "Hey, me too, son." He said, "All right, good night." James's dad walks up, and James grabs a glass of water, starts to fill it up, and this waits a little bit. And then he goes over, he goes to his dad's wallet, he opens it up, and sure enough, he sees a $20 bill, as well as a bunch of other bills. It's not like James's dad had one singular $20 bill, and then if he, takes it, it's going to be very clear. There's a bunch of bills in there, but James sees a 20, he takes it, puts it in his pocket, he walks back upstairs with the glass of water, and he goes into his bed. Next day rolls around, and at school, and he's telling all of his friends at school, "Man, I'm going to be able to get the new Lego Star Wars game. I'm going to be able to get the new Lego Star Wars game. This is awesome, guys. Oh my God, I'm so excited." Stuff like that. And his friends are like, "Oh, your parents have decided to get you it?" And James is like, yeah, basically, guys. Basically, that's what happened. So anyways, James, the end of the day, his mom picks him up, asks how his day is. He's driven back home. And instead of, he said, "Oh, all right, Mom, I'm going to go play in the backyard," because he had a pretty big backyard that was attached to woods. So he could go pretty deep into the backyard. It's not as if he had a really small backyard and it was super obvious if he wasn't in the backyard. It was pretty clear. Oh, no, it wasn't pretty clear where he was, and his parents just let him go and roam and do whatever. So when he's, going out and roaming, and he actually decides to, he goes into a little bit in the forest, so if his mom's looking, it's clear that he's going into the forest, and then he takes a left and goes out of the forest that's out of range of the view of the house, and he goes and starts walking over to the GameStop. Or GameStop equivalent. I'm just going to call it a GameStop. I just don't know if it actually is GameStop. But anyways, right? So this guy, James, walks into the GameStop, looks around, and sure enough, on the front and center, on one of the most pristine and clear and obvious shelves, there it is, the Lego Star Wars game for the Wii. And it is $15.99. So James didn't even need to bring the extra couple dollars. He just needed the 20. He grabs it. He goes up to the counter. And all of a sudden, the person behind the counter says, "Oh, hello there. Aren't you a little bit young to be, buying a game by yourself?" And James is like, haha, kind of laughs. But the guy behind the counter wasn't going to be like, "No, I'm not going to sell you this video game, kid. There's no real reason for him not to give him the video game." But anyways, right, James, he gets the he hands the $20 over, holds the video game in his hand, and he is so excited. He's not even thinking about the fact that, this is stolen money and he didn't actually earn it or anything like that. He's just thinking to himself, "Oh my God, I got the game that all my friends are playing. This is so great." But he's like, "All right, I also got to make sure that I hide this. This is not good, this is I got to make sure because my parents will know because I've been asking them for a while for this game. And if I just randomly have it, they will know, right? They're going to know that I took the money, right? Or that I somehow got it without that I don't have the money to buy it normally." So he has the video game and he's wearing a sweatshirt. So how there were some sweatshirts where there's pockets for your hands in the center? He puts the game in there, and so it kind of just looks like it hides it pretty well. And he gets back home and his mom greets him, and his mom's like, "Honey, Dad and I have a surprise." And at this point James is like, "Oh, okay, cool." And he gets there, and his dad is like, "Well, James, you've been very patient with us, and you've really respected the us saying no to you, and we know how much we know how much you wanted this game, and we know how your friends are playing this game." And James starts to realize what's going on, and he kind of just gets this sinking feeling of, "Oh no, oh no!" And his parents, they grab the game and are like, "You know what? This is for you. You earned it. Thank you for being so patient with us." And James is just like, and sure enough, it is the Lego Star Wars game. And James picks it up and is like, "Oh, thank you guys." And his parents probably looked at him a little strange because they were expecting him to freak out or whatever. Because James, he got excited pretty easily, and this was definitely something that he would be excited about. So his parents are like, "All right, well, go ahead and play it." James goes up and takes the CD out, and he still has the other Lego Star Wars game in his hoodie, and he puts it in a drawer, he puts it under his bed so that no one can see it, and he puts the Lego Star Wars game in, and he's feeling really bad. He's not just feeling bad because his parents ended up getting him the the Lego Star Wars game, he's also feeling bad because he's really kind of internalizing the fact that he stole from his parents, and that is starting to weigh on him a lot. Real quick, comment Lego if you made it this far into the video. That'll be the secret word of the day. And if you do want to support the channel, all you got to do is binge watch these videos, maybe get a playlist of them. I have playlists on my page, but you can also just watch these videos in a large quantity. Maybe while you're playing a video game, you're doing art, maybe helping you go to sleep. And whatever you do, please let me know in the comment section so I can personally thank you for supporting the channel like that. Anyways, so James is playing Lego Star Wars, and it's just it's not really hitting. It's a great game, and he can, like, acknowledge that it's a great game, but the overwhelming sense of, like, guilt and just not feeling good just starts to, like, rise, like, just gets bigger and bigger. He's like, oh, no, man, like, this is really not good. So James, you know, he goes to bed, and he's thinking to himself, you know, I really don't want to face my parents, but how can I make this right? And he's like, okay, is there a way for me not to admit to my parents and just, you know, fix this problem? And then he thinks to himself, well, I took $20 from my dad, which was wrong. But if I can make $20 and put it back, then I feel like I'll feel okay. And so sure enough, the next day, James goes around, and James is pretty good at schoolwork. And he tells all of his friends, hey, if you give me $1, I will do your schoolwork for a week. And 10 of his friends say, sure, all right. So for the next week, James is flooded with work, and his parents even notice, like, all right, James, putting in the work, putting in the grind. James is like, haha, yeah, it's just a busy week. And now at this point, he only has about $10. And, you know, sure enough, you know, James, you know, the next week he asks the same 10 people if they'll be willing to give him the money. And, you know, they do, because they're like, all right, sure, $1 for not doing a week's worth of work. A lot of them had, like, allowance from their parents. So $1 was worth a lot less to them than it was to James at this point. So it was a good trade. And sure enough, James eventually accumulated $20. And, you know, the next week, the kids were like, hey, I'll give you $1, do my work. And James is like, no, dude. And they're like, what? Anyways, James accumulates the $20. And he was thinking to himself, maybe I should just put it back. Like, I'll feel good. But he's like, no, I'll always have a feeling of guilt. So he said, Dad, can I talk to you? His dad's like, sure. And this is when James explains everything of how he really wanted the game, and he took the $20 and he went and bought it himself. And then he said he was feeling really bad. At this point, his dad was not looking too happy. But James is like, so I thought the only thing that could make it right was that I would be able to work and get the $20 back. I know you've seen me worked really hard in the last couple of weeks, and that's because I was doing other people's work for $1. And from that, I was able to get the $20. I don't really have any other ways to make money. And James's dad's like, I'm pretty sure, you know, the school wouldn't like that. And James is like, I know. And he said, here's the $20, you know, and I was just going to put it back in your wallet, but I felt like I had to tell you. And James's dad's like, well, I'm obviously not happy that, you know, you stole from me. However, I do commend you for not just, you know, coming forward and telling me the truth, but also working to make it right, working by getting the $20, which James's dad knows how difficult it was for him to obtain even $1, nevertheless $20, since he gets like $10 per birthday, and he only has one birthday per year. So James's dad's like, you know what? I'm not going to say anything to your mother. I think things will be better that way. You'll get off at least a little easier. And he said, you know what? I'm just happy you came forward with this, you know, said, we're good. And James is like, all right, great. So James now, after the 2 weeks, and during these 2 weeks, he's not even played the Lego Star Wars game at all because he's been busy doing other people's homework, you know, to make that bread, to pay back his dad. He, for the first time, is able to really sit down and enjoy Lego Star Wars, and it's a great game because it's a great game. I love that game. Anyways, yeah. How's it going, everyone? I hope you're having a great day because today we have probably one of the craziest stories of an entitled Karen I have ever told on the channel. So sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And let's call today's subscriber PJ, who submitted this story. So this all happened one summer when PJ was working at a store. So PJ was working the night shift during the summer just to make some extra money. He was a teenager, and it was actually it was like last year or last school year was his senior year. So this was the summer right before college, and PJ just wanted to make a little bit of extra money. However, there wasn't a ton of job openings for the regular jobs as he kind of went around and applied kind of late. And more of the fun jobs, like maybe being a lifeguard or ice cream, I mean, those are I don't know about fun, but at least, I don't know, a little bit more traditional. Those were already taken up, so PJ had to take the night shift at a grocery store. A lot of what he did was kind of just stocking shelves and replenishing, shelves when they were, out, moving inventory around. But also there were always a couple people that would come in kind of late and, they'd ask for stuff. And this grocery store was also, it was more than a grocery store. It was kind of like a lifestyle store too. So they had groceries, they had, items, okay? They had like, I don't know, toothpaste, toothbrushes, home appliances. I guess it was kind of like, how like Target and stores like that and like Walmart too also have food aisles in them. So it was kind of like one of those stores. And PJ had been working the store for about 2 weeks, and he would go in every weekday and he'd get the weekends off. And he started his shift at 6 and he ended his shift at 1 in the morning. He drove back home, of course. And about 2 weeks in was when was his first encounter with the Karen. We're just going to call her the Karen for the rest of the story, as I don't want to come up with a name, and PJ never knew her name anyways. So this was all happened when PJ was just actually manning the shelves. He was replenishing the cereal aisle, so he's putting the Captain Crunch in there, I don't know, replenishing the shelves, and he hears ahem, and he turns around, and it was this woman. It was an older, larger woman with this kind of moo-moo thing on, and she had like this big blouse, and she was standing there, and she wasn't just standing there normally. She was standing there with like arms on her fists, arms on her fists on her hips. There we go. She was very unhappy, and PJ turned around and said, "Hello, ma'am. Like, how can I help you?" Because PJ's a good kid. He's gonna do what he needs to do to perform well in his job. And the Karen was like, "The customer service in this store is terrible." And PJ's like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, there's not a lot of people working as it is, 11:30 at night. But how can I help you?" And she said, "The customer service in the store, reprehensible. I just can't get around. I was calling for help, and no one would come and help me." And PJ's like, "All right, well, I'm really sorry that happened. Like, as I said, we are kind of like understaffed at this hour. No one really wants to work right now. But how can I help you?" And the Karen for a third time is like, "It was ridiculous. No one was here to help me. It was crazy." And PJ's like, "All right, well that's once again, how can I help you?" And Karen's like, "Fine, I need help getting the very very specific brand of beans." And she says like Elmer's beans. I don't think that's a real brand, but she said a very specific brand. And PJ in his head was like, "We definitely don't sell beans that's like that brand. Like, I don't recognize it, but maybe I'm wrong." So he's like, "Well, ma'am, I can bring you to the beans aisle, and if they're not there, I can potentially look, in our storage to see." And the Karen's like, finally, well, take me there, young man." And sure enough, PJ brings her to the beans aisle, and she's like, "I already came over here where there's no Elmer's beans." And PJ was like, "Yeah, let me take a look. Yeah, I don't see any Elmer's beans." "Well, ma'am, there's a few things I can do. I can go in the back to see if we have any in storage, but if I'm being honest, I don't really remember us ever having this brand." And she's like, You guys don't have Elmer's beans? You don't have any Elmer's? Oh my God. This is ridiculous. You know what? Fine. You were no help to me anyways. I'm just going to go along my day." And PJ in his head's like, "All right, this woman's great. She's really nice. Really, really helping me out. Minimum wage employee. Definitely deserve all this. This is my fault because I run the store, apparently." And he's like, "All right, ma'am. Well, sorry this didn't work out." And she's like, "No, I bet you're sorry this didn't work out when you figure out what I'm about to do." And she kind of mumbles something about what she's going to do. And, PJ's like, "What?" And she kind of waddles off, right? So PJ thinks literally nothing of it. He's like, okay, this woman, she's probably a little senile. She's probably a little crabby. I mean, look, she's out grocery shopping at 11:30 at night. I bet her bedtime is like 7:30 at night. So this is probably a tough day for her, as it is a tough day to me. I can only be so upset. And that's when he hears kind of like rustling noises, like someone kind of frantically moving through items, kind of pushing stuff. And then he hears stuff falling on the ground. And this is when he thinks, oh no, because this has happened before where there's been kind of a display or a stand of a bunch of food items or, home good items. And they're kind of like stacked in a way that it's good for display, but structurally the integrity is a little compromised. So sure enough, stuff has fallen over, and PJ's had to deal with it before. And once again, PJ just thinks, okay, well, there was probably like a stack of I don't know, canned goods that just fell over and knocked a bunch of stuff over. This is annoying. I have to go and clean it up, but sure, whatever. So PJ starts walking towards the location of the sound, and he sees the old woman very quickly dart out of the aisle he was approaching, and going this like really weird like evil laugh as she ran out. And PJ was like, what the what? Huh? Okay. Okay. And so anyways, PJ goes there, and he notices it's not like one pile of cans that's been knocked over. It's like a whole it's like a whole swath of like cans and materials and goods have all been like pushed over onto the floor. This was not some accident. This was very clearly someone kind of took their hand and started like slamming stuff onto the floor. So PJ was very, very, very suspicious. He knew that this was not like an accident. He knew this was not just something falling over. He was like, okay, maybe someone bumped into it and they just, they were embarrassed and they didn't want to pick it up. Fine, whatever. So as PJ is picking stuff up, he hears another crashing noise. And he's like, okay, now this is starting to get annoying. So PJ actually finishes putting all the stuff together, right? He finishes putting all the stuff back, and he starts moving the direction of the crashing noise. However, he makes a mental note to himself that if he hears another crashing noise, that he's going to stop doing what he's doing and sprint over, like full sprint. And this guy's a track star. This guy has bunny hops. He can go quickly, man. He is Usain Bolt, bro. But anyways, he's going to speed over there as quickly as possible. So as PJ's walking over to where he thinks the pile of like whatever's been, tossed over, he hears a crash. He knows exactly which aisle it's in. He can just hear it, and he sprints over there. And when he sprints over there, he turns the corner, and who do you think he sees? Yes, you're correct. He sees the Karen with her arm in the middle of like a big thing of cans, and he sees her push it over onto the ground and knock it over. And the Karen goes, and then PJ's like, hey, and she turns around and she's like, so you've caught me. This is what you get for not having Elmer's beans. And PJ's like, ma'am, you don't understand. I have to clean this up. And she says, I know that. That's why I'm doing it. And he's like, why? Like, I don't run this store. I don't stock this store. I don't choose what things we buy. I don't choose any of this. Why are you tormenting me in particular? And she said, I know you guys have Elmer's beans, and I know that you're withholding them from me. And PJ was like, what? He's like, why do you think that? Why? Like, what made you come to that conclusion? Because I know that you're hiding all the Elmer's beans in the back rooms for you. Back rooms. And he's like, why? I don't even know what those are. And she says, they were only the most delicious beans ever. And I've been going place to place, and they're all out. And I know that the last supply was here. I know it. And I know you've been hiding them. So I'm going to continue to torture you until you give me the Elmer's beans that I deserve. And PJ is just like, oh my God. So he kind of like is like, all right, ma'am, well, keep at that. And PJ immediately power walks to his manager's office, or the supervisor who's on duty. Just goes knock, 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 knock. And he hears, come in, opens it up. He's like, hey, I got a weird situation. PJ explains everything that's been going on. And his manager's like, all right, well, I'll come and deal with this. So PJ and the manager walk over to where the woman is, and she's gone. And that's when they hear another crashing noise. And like PJ's like, all right, well, she's smashing something over there. And sure enough, they walk over there, and the frozen food aisle, so like the refrigerator doors open, and like big things of ice cream are on the floor, but also like egg cartons are on the floor, and some of the eggs are smashed. So before she was just being a nuisance, and now she's destroying she's destroying the produce in the store, so it's becoming an issue now. And the manager is like, ma'am, please, can you stop? We're going to ask you to leave. And the Karen says, I'm not going to leave until I get my Elmer's beans. Do you hear me, young man? This young man over here, and points to PJ, is withholding the Elmer's beans from me. He is stockpiling them in the back. And the manager's like, ma'am, I know for a fact we do not carry Elmer's beans here. And she says, you, points to the manager, you're in cahoots with him. You two are hoarding the Elmer's beans for yourself. And at this point, the manager looks at PJ, and PJ kind of gives him the look of like, I told you she's insane. Real quick, comment Karen if you made it this far into the video. It's the secret word of the day, and I just like seeing all the names and faces of people supporting me by watching at least halfway through the video. I really do appreciate you. And also, if you want to continue supporting the channel, literally after this video or whenever you can, sit down and watch 2, 3, 4, whatever number of videos. I call that binge watching the videos. And in the comment section down below, let me know what you're doing while binge watching these videos. Are you, drawing or doing some artwork, playing a video game, doing your laundry, doing your homework, trying to go to sleep? And also let me know how many videos you watch in a row in the comment section. I'll be shouting out random people like the person on screen. So thank you to the person on screen as well as all you guys for supporting the channel so much recently. Anyways, let's get back to the story. So just a little recap at this point, PJ brought over the manager to kind of stop the situation. The Karen has escalated to not just knocking over stuff, but destroying the products, aka the eggs that got smashed on the floor. And when the manager says that they don't carry Elmer's beans, and remember that's a stand-in name, I don't even think that's a real thing, the Karen starts going crazy thinking that the manager is in cahoots with PJ to keep the beans from her. No! Okay, obviously that's ridiculous. But this is when the Karen said, both of you, you're in cahoots to keep the beans away from me. The manager's like, ma'am, that is straight up ridiculous. And she said, no, you're ridiculous. Both of you are. And you will both pay the price. And she just waddles away. And PJ turns to the manager and is like, dude, what do we do? And the manager's like, bro, I actually don't know. Like, I just kind of thought that me coming over here and saying, can you stop? would make her stop. Like that has always worked. Whenever people were causing problems, I just came over them and said leave, and they kind of did. Like, and PJ's like, so should we call the police? And he's like, well, she broke like some eggs, so I bet we could. But is that really enough? And in the middle of like that sentence, they hear a kaboom, a massive smash, and also a shattering noise. So they quickly run over to the situation, and they see the Karen now has a broomstick in her hand that she picked up from one of like the lifestyle sections and is going ham in the vase section, taking swings and kind of pushing vases onto the ground and smashing them. At this point, she's probably broken like $300 worth of vases. $350, $375, $400. She's just going $450. She just keeps smashing stuff, and the manager's like, ma'am, you gotta leave right now or we're calling the police. And that's when the Karen throws her head back and starts to cackle. And she says, the police! Don't you know the police can't arrest me? I'm immune to them. And the manager was like, bruh. So sure enough, right, manager and PJ, they run back as the whole store is being obliterated by this Karen, right? And, they call the police and they say, hey, we got a Karen going crazy. She's breaking everything. Can you come? And so sure enough, the police officers arrive and they meet the manager and PJ, and they hear, it's in the middle. You're hearing smashing noises. You're hearing destruction noises. And the police are like, oh boy, what's going on? So they walk over to the scene, and the Karen is sitting there laughing as she's breaking stuff. And the police are like, ma'am. And the Karen is like, oh, hello there, officers. Hello there. And the police officers are like, ma'am, what? You can't be breaking stuff. And she says, oh, but I can. And the police officers are like, what? What do you mean by this? And, Karen's like, well, here's the thing. You guys cannot arrest me. It is illegal. And the police officers are like, well, what do you mean by that? She's like, well, you just can't. I can't be arrested. And the police officers are like, you want to see? You want to see if that's a thing? And PJ and the manager is just looking at each other. And she says, catch me if you can, boys. and she's like, it's like the most ridiculous thing ever. She's next to like a ball pit, like a big container of balls, like for a bunch of like toys or whatever, for like, it's like a kid section. And she flips over the ball container. Remember, this is an older woman who's kind of larger. Like, she's not mobile. She flips over the ball thing and waddles into the next aisle, right? And the balls start flying everywhere, so you can't sprint towards it or you might trip on them. So police officers like, did that old woman just like say, catch us if she can, or if we can, and run away? The other guy's like, I guess we got to go after her. So sure enough, the two officers kind of like power walk. They're not going to sprint after an old woman. They're like, oh, whatever. They kind of power walk in the direction that the Karen has gone. And at this point, right, PJ and the manager are like, what the freak did I just see? Like, this is the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen in my life, right? Like, I have no idea what's going on right now. So they kind of walk over to the next aisle, and the Karen's not there. In fact, they keep looking, and the Karen isn't anywhere. And the thing is, right, so they go over to someone who's manning the cash register, and they said, hey, did you see an old woman leave through these doors? And, the guy manning cash register says, no one's come in since the police officers, nor left since the police officers came in like 10 minutes ago. He said, that's impossible. Like, where is she? So sure enough, like he says, hey, so this is the only exit, or, there's a fire exit in the back or something, but that would sound an alarm if it went off. And he's like, hey, don't let anyone in or out of this exit. The store is closed for now. It's under, like, police investigation. So the guy behind the cash register is like, oh, my God, is everything okay? And he's like, well, it will be. And so sure enough, the manager and PJ meet up with the police officers, and they say, like, fellas, like, we can't find her anywhere. I don't know how she did it, but she escaped. And they say, hey, she's somewhere in this store. We had our guy, like, holding off, like, the guy at the cash register is making sure that no one is leaving the premises and no one's getting in. She's in this store. The only other exit is a fire exit, and the alarm would sound if she went that way. And so sure enough, the police officers, the manager and PJ, they continue to scout out the store. They do their rounds, and for the love of them, they can't find her, and they think it's ridiculous. They said, this is an old portly woman. How on earth did she like find her way? Like, how did she get around this? Like, this is insane. And that's when they go, and then that's when PJ said, hey, like, aren't there security cameras? And sure enough, the manager's like, yeah, actually there are security cameras. And he said, aren't there like security cameras for all places like in the store? He said, yeah, actually. So sure enough, they go around, and they go to the security cameras, and they're looking through it, and they're like going through, and they just don't see her anywhere. And that's when PJ said, hey, did you check the security cameras for the storage? And they're like, no, because they're like, why would she go in there? They flip it on, and there she is, the Karen. And you know where she is? She's looking through the bean section. She's trying to find their storage of the alleged, like, hiding of all their treasure, a.k.a. Elmer's beans, which, why? So sure enough, they're like, all right, we found her. So the police officers start, like, running towards the storage place. PJ and the manager start running towards that area, too. They get to the door, and they go to try to open it. It's locked. And the manager's like, what? Because he turns to PJ, because, like, how's it locked? And that's when PJ remembers, oh, no, he left the keys inside there. She must have used them to lock the door, and now they can't get in. And he's like, PJ, do not tell me that you left the keys inside of there. He's like, how would I know that a crazy Karen was going to come in and accuse us of stealing her precious beans, outrun the police, and hide out in the storage place? How would I have known that? He's like, well, don't leave the keys in there. It's part of the procedure. And PJ's like, okay, fine, fair enough. But either way, she's in there. She's locked herself in there, and there's no way for us to get in. And the manager's like, well, actually, there is one way for us to get in. And he points to an air duct, like one of those vents. And PJ's like, dude, you're freaking kidding me. This is not a television show. I'm not going in there. Police officers are like, we'll turn a blind eye. You can go in there, son. He's like, what? Sure enough, right? Okay, this wasn't like a crazy vent or anything. It's not like PJ risked getting chopped up into a billion pieces, or I don't know. Maybe he risked like inhaling some mold or something. But Sure enough, it was a pretty big vent, and it went straight into the storage room. And PJ was not trying to like face off against his granny because he's like, she really wants these damn beans, bro. Like, I'm not trying to do that. All he needed to do was open the door. So PJ was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. But you guys got to stand by the door. And the second that I open that thing, you got to come in here and help me out. And he's like, all right, fine. So sure enough, PJ opens the vent and is slowly climbing through it. Because he doesn't want to climb through the vent too quickly, because you can only imagine like bum, 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 bum. If you're going too quickly, you're going to make a ton of noise in that vent, and she's going to know that you're coming. So they keep going, bum. So he goes bum, 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 very quietly and very slowly. And he gets closer, and he gets to the vent part. So he gets to the grate looking into the storage room, and it's like a 3-foot drop. It's not like he's jumping from the ceiling. This is not a massive warehouse or anything. And he gets to the grate, and he can see the Karen on the other side of the room. And he also sees the grate there, and that's when he sees that the grate is like screwed in. It's not screwed in really tightly, but if he's going to get through that gate, he's going to have to like power kick that. He's going to have to like take his boot and like kick through the gate open, which is going to like open the grate, right? It's going to make it fly out, but it's also going to alert the Karen to his presence, and she really wants those beans. And if he's being honest, he's kind of scared of the Karen right now, and I'm not going to lie, I'd be a little scared too. So PJ is like, okay, I got one shot to do this. We could also wait the Karen out, but you know what? Screw it. So PJ kind of like maneuvers himself, lifts up because he doesn't have a lot of room, but he like lifts up his leg and boom, quickly does a very solid kick to the grate. Thankfully, he makes the right contact, that he breaks the gate open, and he immediately slides out. And he makes eye contact with the Karen across the room. And the Karen is rummaging through beans, and she's like, you. So while PJ is kind of freaked out, he is high on the adrenaline rush, and he sprints. And when I mean sprints, he is doing like, he's envisioning himself in the 100-meter dash, as he was he was in track in high school, so he was very good. Quick with that. Boom, immediately sprints there. The Karen is waddling towards him, right? No idea what her intentions are. Immediately is able to unlocks the door, pushes it open. The two police officers push back and are like, "Ma'am, freeze!" And I mean, they're not drawing their guns or anything, but she's like, "You can't arrest me!" And then they go over and arrest her. Yeah, you can't. Nope, you can. So sure enough, the police officers get her in cuffs. And they're like, all right, well, manager, you're going to have to go through and figure out how much all the damages are. Send that to us, and we'll send it to her, and we'll get this figured out. And he said, at the minimum, we can't issue a restraining order because only judges can issue restraining orders. But we can submit a case to a judge that I bet we could get a restraining order within like the next 5 hours, and we'll have her in the custody for the next day or so while we have this figured out. And the manager's like, yeah, I'll probably have to send a report up to corporate because this is insane. And, he's like, okay, that totally makes sense. And so sure enough, the police officers, they escort the Karen out of there. And PJ goes up to his manager and says, hey, man, can I have the rest of the day off? Which is like 12:30 by now, so it's like half an hour. He's like, yeah, you know what? I think it's fair enough to close up shop. So PJ gets back home, and his mom notices, like, oh, it's like 12:40. He normally gets back around like 1:10. So she's like, oh, close up early? PJ's like, yeah, we closed up early. And she said, any reason why? PJ's like, oh boy,
click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it. Do it.
How's it going, everyone? Today we got a crazy story of a Karen who literally like punches the subscriber in the nose because of an absolutely ridiculous reason, which you will soon find out. But I just know you'll enjoy this story, so sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's call the subscriber who submitted the story Chase. So anyways, this all happened one summer when Chase was at a summer camp because Chase was a camp counselor there. Chase had been going to the summer camp for a long time, but after a while, he got old enough that he could actually be a camp counselor and get paid, and it was pretty cool because, he kind of grew up with that camp, so it was a really nice thing. So anyways, they had, at the end of the week, it was kind of like I would say, a performing arts, but kind of like an artsy camp, but also not like painting, like very sophisticated. I don't want to say some stuff is sophisticated and some stuff isn't. It was a very relaxed, informal, do whatever you want to do, but it just had a lot of people who enjoyed more of the artistic side is what I'm trying to say. So anyways, at the end of the week for this camp, is a talent show where everyone basically, they practice for the week, they're given resources, attention, whatever, and at the end of the week, they show off in front of everyone, and then there's also there's a kind of a reward at the end, there's a prize of like, to say the camp gives a prize to one person who they think really stands out, even though they like everyone's work. That's been a tradition as well. So anyways, there's a kid named Ben. Ben happens to be the son of a Karen. However, Chase doesn't know this yet. So Ben is like, he's really working on his poster board, and he wants to do it all about his dog, but he wants to make it really cool. And Chase is kind of like the camp counselor that Ben really gravitates towards, and it's just, Ben and Chase start to have a pretty good relationship. And Ben is like, I don't know, I'm really like nervous to present this in front of all these people. I don't think it's good enough. I don't feel worthy, kind of stuff along those lines. And Chase goes on to say, man, like, I've like looked around and your stuff is in line with everyone else's. Your thing is amazing. You're going to do a great job. You need to trust me on this. And that was really just words of encouragement to Ben that he really needed to hear. So anyways, all the drama, all the nonsense, all the craziness actually happens the day of the talent show. So let's just skip ahead to that day. So on the final day of camp that Friday, it's a normal day that Friday. However, everyone comes back that night. And the camp kind of puts on a big, fun, like, food festival. So you come, you eat, you do all that good stuff. And after everyone has dinner, the parents who are also invited to come back, they sit in kind of this auditorium, and then there's a big stage, and one by one, everyone goes on there and presents, and maybe they're a singer, maybe they're presenting something, some kind of creative artwork, or something, right? It's kind of just like a creative camp where kids are allowed, just given resources to do what they want to do, and then show it off by the end of the week. So on the day, Ben was really nervous, and he came up to Chase, and Chase is like, man, trust me, you're going to do great out there. I know for a fact everyone's going to love it. And that's when Ben says, and I also told my mom about, like, the number one prize thing, like, or the camp prize, and she really wants me to win it. And the thing is, Chase was confident that Ben was going to do great. Chase knew almost for a fact who was going to win it. Because the camp counselors, they have a vote. I think they kind of decide who's going to win the award. It could be decided at the very end, but for the most part, the camp counselors are seeing the progress of all of these projects throughout the day, or throughout the week. So they kind of already know going into it what's going to be the winner, and they kind of decide before the fact. However, they can always say, "Oh, well, we changed our mind." And Chase, the camp counselor and the subscriber, kind of knew that the winner was going to be this singer girl who had a beautiful voice, the best voice any of them have ever heard. So Chase didn't want to get Ben's hopes up, but he also didn't want to leak who was going to win before the fact. And he's like, you know what? That prize, it's only given out to one person. And it's like, there's like 100 people at this camp. So I wouldn't really focus on that. I would just focus on doing a good job and having fun. And Ben goes on to say, yeah, I don't really care. I don't need the prize. I just know my mom has been saying a lot about it. Little did Chase know that Ben's mom happened to be a massive Karen that would end up smacking him straight in the nose with her fist. However, this was pretty unpredictable, as you don't assume that every mom is going to come in and just slam you in the face. But hey, man, stranger stuff has happened before. So let's skip ahead to that night. So everyone went home briefly, and they went back to their parents, and around 6 at night, you start to see cars pulling up, or Chase is seeing cars pulling up, with parents and kids who've been working on stuff all week. And it's pretty cool, because you've been working with these kids to see their parents and all that stuff, and Ben drags his mom over to Chase, and Ben's like, Mom, this is the camp counselor that was, like, been helping me out, that's been doing a great job. And the Karen, aka Ben's mom, is actually quite nice in the beginning. That's one thing about Karens. Sometimes they appear very friendly and cordial, but given enough time, given enough prodding, and in the wrong situation, they will explode and show their true colors. So Karen's like, hello there, Chase. Ben has told me all about you and how you've been helping him so much. And Chase is like, yeah, your son's a very special boy. Like, he's great at what he's doing. I love, like, his creativity. I love his enthusiasm. He's going to do great tonight. And she's like, I know he's going to do great tonight. And She should have ended it there. She should have ended it there, but she didn't. The Karen goes on to say, and I also just know that he's going to win the #1 prize. And remember, Chase already knows that he's not, you know? He already knows that that's not the case. So he's like, ma'am, I don't know who's going to win the prize, but there's a lot of people, and I don't know. Like, maybe there's a chance, but it doesn't really matter. It really just matters if he's going to have a fun time. And the Karen's like, well, now, actually, I have already bought a shelf that I'm going to display his #1 trophy on, so he better be winning it. And I'm assuming, since you guys are such close friends, that you're going to make that happen, young man. And at this point, Chase is looking at her, looking at the Karen, and it's kind of like, oh no. She thinks I'm going to rig it so that Ben wins. Chase goes on to say, hey, I will definitely, I'm a big fan of what Ben does, but just know there are 19 other camp counselors, and we put it to a vote, so I don't really have control over this. The Karen winks at him and says, wink, okay, don't have control. Then kind of whispers, I know you'll do the right thing. And Karen and Ben walk off. And Chase is like, oh, she is not going to like me after she hears who wins the camp award. She is not going to like me. So sure enough, let's just skip ahead to the day of the camp, right? So everyone's really excited. It's a really big deal. It's really fun. Life is good. Everyone is behind stage. After eating, all the parents are now in the audience. They're looking in. And Ben is starting to freak out behind stage. He's like, oh my God, it's really happening. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. And, Chase is just like, dude, chill out. You're good. This is really great. We've practiced this a million times. You're a cool dude. Everyone's going to like you. You got to trust me on this. He's like, I know, you're right, but I don't know. I'm still scared. I'm still freaking out. I just don't know, man. And sure enough, Chase is like, dude, you're going to be totally fine. Don't worry about it. When you go out there, just pretend like I'm the only one in the audience. Just present for me. Don't present for them, present for me. And that, I guess, made Ben feel better. He's like, okay, man, I'll do it. So sure enough, it's time for Ben to go out there. He walks out there, and he does it really confidently because he's thinking oh, I'm just presenting for my buddy Chase. So anyways, right, Ben comes back behind stage. Everyone claps for his, dog poster presentation. The camp was cool because you could literally do anything. You could make a poster, put photos of your dog on it, and be like, bro, this is my thing. They'd be like, all right, your thing's your thing, man. We don't choose, you choose. So anyways, right, he comes back behind stage, and Chase gives him a big high five, and Chase is like, oh, dude, that was awesome. Ben's like, I'm so excited. I just did that. I'm feeling so good about myself. Oh my God, this is so awesome. Just kind of really encouraging stuff like that. And sure enough, right, other people go on, and that's when the girl with the incredible voice goes on, and she kills it. She does an even better job than she's done all week practicing. Chase was kind of thinking, well, there's a chance that she messes up and doesn't really have a perfect presentation, then we'd have to maybe do a revote. But by the end of it, Chase is like, yeah, okay, she won. And I would assume that most people in the audience at that point also know that she definitely won. But there was one person who did not know this fact, and that was the Karen. Because the Karen was convinced that Chase was the owner of the camp, or ran the prize pool or something, or ran the contest to decide who was going to win. So she was confident that her little boy was going to win because Chase was going to rig it for him, which Chase was not going to do that for him. Look, Chase really liked Ben, but one, Chase was one of 20 counselors. 19 people are not going to vote with him because he asks. Two, he's also going to vote for, who he really thinks deserves it. Ben is a great kid. Chase really enjoyed mentoring Ben. Ben had a great time. Ben also doesn't care about the prize. And also, this girl, deserves the prize. She had the most outstanding, spectacular performance of them all. So he voted for her before, and nothing's going to change that. So anyways, a few more people go on, and then all the presentations happen. A counselor goes out there and says, all right, guys, all the kids can go back to their parents, but we will, in 20 minutes, be presenting the winner's cup to whoever wins the camp award. Just know that out of all the 100 people, you all did an incredible job. We just it's just a tradition to give this out. No hard feelings if you don't get it. You're all great. Right, so they go back behind stage, and all the camp counselors are like, yeah, okay, that girl, like, we'll just call her Kate. Yeah, Kate's getting it. They're like, oh, yeah, Kate, 100%. So it's immediately, like, unanimous that, yeah, Kate's going to win this. She was incredible. Of course she's going to get it, right? And, you know, a little part of, like, Chase was like, maybe I should be like, I think Ben should get it. Oh, my God, who said that? Yeah, I think Ben should get it too. Oh, wow, I think we're in consensus. Ben should win. But, you know, Chase knew what the right answer was. So anyways, 20 minutes goes by, and that's when they go out, and one of the camp counselors is like, all right, everyone, now, winner of the Camp Cup, drum roll, please, is Kate, last name, and everyone erupts into applause. And Kate, the girl, walks on stage, and, you know, one of the camp counselors walks over with one of those, like, fake trophy things, and she picks it up, and that's when you hear, no! Yeah, and at this point, everyone just stops clapping and just turns around, just to hear, no! And just like, yeah, it was interesting. Real quick comment, Karen, if you made it this far into the video, I'm just curious to see all the names and faces of people who made it this far. And also, if you want to continue supporting the channel, just keep watching videos. Literally watching a bunch of videos in a row, watching long videos for a long time, it just helps the channel out so much. And I'm curious, what are you doing while watching these videos? Are you just watching a video, or are you putting these to the side while doing something else? I'm genuinely curious. Put in the comment section. I'm dropping a bunch of hearts on comments to say thanks. Also, for the next 24 hours, use code ConnorPugs at GamerSupps to get 20% off. If you're watching this video after the first day of its release, if you use code ConnorPugs, you will still get 10% off, which is a great deal. It doesn't just, you know, help you, it also helps me. And also, one thing I didn't say in the promo video of the launch is that if enough of our community, like, gets the GamerSupps and enjoys it, there's a chance that we'll be able to make our very own community cup where we can put whatever we want on it and then be able to drink, you know, energy drinks out of our own personal cup, which I think is awesome. So if you do want to buy it, make sure to use the code and you'll get a percentage off. I'll help feed my pugs, and then we can also make a really cool drink together. Anyways, let's get back to the story, as it's pretty crazy right now, if you couldn't already tell. But anyways, right, so the Karen is in the middle of saying, no, and then people behind the stage are like, yo, someone's got to deal with that woman, bro. She's going crazy. At this point, Chase is like, oh my God, dude, I don't want to do, and everyone points at Chase like, bro, you were like next on the to-do list. So basically, they had a, like, to-do list, which was, they had a list of the camp counselors, and whenever there was something that no one wanted to do, the first person on that list would have to do it. Did someone wet their pants? No one wants to deal with it. Who's first on the to-do list? And every single time someone did something, their name was etched off. And it went down the list, and who was next? It was Chase. Yeah, maybe this was probably the biggest thing anyone has been asked to do, but they all swore by the to-do list in the beginning. So unfortunately, that's just how it goes. So Chase kind of walks down stage, and he's trying to figure out where this Karen is, right? He doesn't actually know it's Ben's mom yet, but he's like, oh my God, what's going on? And there's just a woman sitting there going, no. Okay, you get the point. You guys get the point. And he's like, okay, he walks over, Chase walks over, and he's like, ma'am, please. And this is when the Karen is like, you said that you would rig it for my son. And everyone turns around and is like, what? Huh, bro? What did she just say? And Chase is like, whoa, ma'am, I never said that. I said that I was mentoring your son and really enjoyed what he did and thinks he's a great kid. And Karen's like, and that means that you would rig it for my son. If you really loved him, you'd cheat for him. And Chase is like, bro, love him. I've known him for 5 days. He's cool. We're buddies. Like, you know, I kind of mentor him. He's a cool kid. He also doesn't care about this award, ma'am. And he told me that only you care about it. So please allow Kate, the beautiful, wonderful singer, to get her award in peace. Because remember, Kate's standing up there, holding the award awkwardly. She's just like in an awkward position because this woman screams, no, just in the middle of it, right? Just like, bro, what are you doing? Like, why? Why be like this? Why? Bro, what? Anyways, right, the Karen is like, I don't understand. I thought we had a deal. Chase is like, we don't have a deal. And so Ben is standing next to, like, Karen at this point. And Ben kind of tugs on his mom's arm, the Karen, right? And is like, Mom, please, you're embarrassing me. And she's like, stop. I'm standing up for you. Your dog poster presentation was clearly better than that witch's terrible singing. And Chase is like, ma'am, do not insult the other kids here. Bro, it's crazy when Karens, like, insult other kids because their kids didn't win. I swear, I've been looking through Karen stories, so many of them. So many, like, the Karens are like, my son's the best. Your son is trash and garbage and an L, a walking L, in front of their faces. I don't know why. He's a kid, too. But anyways, right, Chase is like, ma'am, please, you know what? There's only, like, 5 minutes left. If you just sit here quietly, we won't ask you to leave, right? And the Karen's like, won't ask me to leave. I'm going to stay here until my son wins. And I'm going to make as much noise as necessary. No. And she's screaming, bro. She throws her head back and screams, no. Just like in the middle of everything, ruining everything. There was supposed to be a nice closing out speech by the camp director. And all the camp counselors are looking at Chase and is like, do something. So Chase is like, ma'am, please, ma'am. And he starts like kind of like moving his hands like and kind of like just waving them to get her attention. And the Karen is like, puts her head down. She said, you want my attention? And Chase is like, yes, ma'am, please, can you go? And she's like, this betrayal will not go unrecognized. And Chase is like, okay, ma'am, that's totally fine. Can you please go? The middle of the sentence, boom! Karen takes her fist, boom, square in his nose, hits his nose, crunch, blood out of the left nostril, boom. He kind of like falls back a little bit, doesn't fall on the ground, but he's completely shocked. He has no idea what just happened. Everyone around him, they start like mumbling. Some people, no one's like screaming or anything, but they're like, oh my God, like, did you just punch him? Oh my, did you just see that? And that's when two of their camp counselors run over. And one of them reaches out his arm. He's like, he's like, yo, dude, are you okay? Chase is just like, dude, what just happened? And the other one's like, ma'am, I'm going to ask you to leave right now. And the Karen's like, you're going to have to fight me first. Karen literally swings again on this other guy, but he was prepared, so he dodged it, right? And that's when he, like, Chase looks back. He sees another guy calling, he pulls out, like, his phone. And he calls security. Chase doesn't know that at the time, but you understand when security comes in 1 minute later. So anyways, the Karen's like, wanna fight? I'ma punch you, bro. You didn't give my kid number one? Then you're gonna go down. Ben's like, Mom, please stop. Please. Mom, please. And she's like, I'm standing up for you, Ben. And that's when both of her hands were pulled behind her. And these two big security guards were like, you're coming with me, ma'am. And she's like, take your hands off me. Take your grubby hands off me immediately. I am a woman and I deserve like, what are you doing? Ow, you're hurting me. Security guards are like, ma'am, we do not care. You literally just, one, assaulted one of our employees, and two, tried to assault another employee while causing a massive scene. We're taking you out of here. So the security guards practically dragged this woman out of here, right? She's kicking and screaming, no, the entire time. And out the door, and then it closes. And and then the camp counselor goes up and says, hey, everyone, we're going to restart the final bit of our program, which is 10 minutes long, in 5 minutes. Please wait here while we figure it out behind stage. So Chase goes backstage. Someone gets him ice. Someone gets him a Band-Aid. Like, it's not a good scene. And they're like, okay, we're just gonna start where we're handing out the award. Then we're gonna do the final, like the clap, the final presentation or whatever. We're just gonna keep going like nothing happened. So anyways, people go out. Like, one of the camp counselors goes on stage. Is like, all right, Kate, are you still there? And Kate's now back in the audience. And they're like, we'd like to give you a proper congratulations for winning. So she comes back on stage, and Chase notices, because Chase is behind stage right now. He's getting his nose looked at. Someone's like, you should go to the hospital for that. And he's like, yeah, I'll go after. Like, I probably broke something. And he looks out and he sees Ben, who's all crying and teared up. He's sitting in the audience alone because his mother not just embarrassed him, but also got dragged out by security. So Chase is like, oh man, I can't let this happen. So Chase kind of like very quietly walks out to the audience, sits next to Ben, and Ben's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And Chase is like, dude, you can't control your mother. Don't worry about it. And Ben's like, I'm so embarrassed. Starts to tear up again. He's like, hey, buddy, like, you're good. I just saw you out here alone. And I'm like, I can't have my little buddy out here alone. I'm going to sit with you for the rest of this. And, Ben stops his crying and he's like, okay, that's cool. And so, yeah, Chase and Ben sit there. They watch the rest of the program, right? So anyways, the aftermath is Ben really wants to come back, but the events say, like, hey, like, your mom is banned from ever coming here. She can never step foot on here. Like, I don't know if we can have you come back. And that's where Chase really fights with the administration to be like, hey, I know this kid Ben is great. His mom's insane, but trust me, like, he's a really good kid. I'm sure that, like, he's great for this program. So after a lot of fighting, Chase was able to get a deal where if Ben decided to come back next year, his mom could drop him up and pick him up, but she couldn't, like, step foot on the campus, basically. And that, Ben would have to be walked to her car. But Ben was able to come back, which is all Chase wanted. And, Chase was able to, like, send a message to, Ben's mom basically saying, hey, I know we had a bit of a tough moment. Well, he didn't send it, but the administration said, hey, like, so while you're still banned from coming, like, if your son wants to, like, attend next year, he can. The next year rolls around. This happened a while ago. Chase was a camp counselor. There was 3 weeks to the program. And Chase was really wondering if he was ever going to see his little buddy again, right? Ben. He's been through a lot, right? Poor Ben. And so there's three terms. And the first term, right, kids come, they go. Second week, kids come, they go. The third week, Chase is kind of sitting there. He's a little bummed out. Like, he's like, I wish Ben came, right? And all the kids are being dropped off. And, it's just, he doesn't see Ben on any of the lists. And he just assumes Ben is not going to come back. And that's when he sees a car pull up, and this kid kind of like walk out of it and walk towards him. And sure enough, it's Ben. And Ben just goes running straight towards Chase, jumps up, gives him a big hug. And Chase is like, oh, buddy, you're coming back. Like, I'm so excited. Like, that's awesome, man. I'm so excited to see you here. And, Chase is like, yeah, like, my mom was not letting me come back for the longest time. But then I asked for Christmas if I could come, and, she couldn't say no at that point, and my dad stepped in and said I had to go. It was a good learning experience and built good character, and here I am. And so sure enough, right, Ben came back the next year, and, he also presented again, did another project. He didn't win, but that's okay, because he didn't need to win, and also his Karen mom did not show up and try and fight the staff, which is always good.
Click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it. Do it.
How's it going, everyone? I hope you're having a good day, because today we have a combination story of both a spoiled kid and a Karen. Yes, not just a spoiled kid, not just a Karen, but both of them in the same story. I know you'll enjoy it. By the way, I'm starting to upload short stories on a shorts channel. It'll be the first link in the description. It might also be the pinned comment if I can remember. So go subscribe to that channel if you also want shorter stories in your feed. But anyways, let's just jump right into it. So anyways, let's call the subscriber who submitted this story Ben. Let's call him Ben. That's a classic name on the channel. So anyways, right, Ben was in class, and in Ben's class, there's this spoiled kid. And this spoiled kid was kind of just known as the kid who kind of got everything that he wanted. He also didn't have to work for anything and didn't really understand the value of, like, do something, put in the work, and you'll get something valuable, right? He understood I want something, I cry, I scream, I pout, and then I get it, right? That's kind of how the spoiled kid's mentality worked. That's not how, everyone else's that's not how you should be doing it, but that's how the spoiled kid was doing it, right? And there was a very big test coming up. And, the spoiled kid did not want to study for it. And basically a week before the test, the teacher's like, hey guys, I know you're aware, but the very big assignment is coming up. I'm going to ask, like, you have no homework for the rest of the week. The only thing I ask is that every single day that you put in the work to study. Trust me, like, if you don't do it, you'll only be harming yourself and your grade. He said, okay, today I'm going to put you guys into small groups so that you can prepare with a random partner. So Ben and the spoiled kid are randomly put together. And, Ben and the spoiled kid sit down, and there's like a little sheet of, like, quizzing each other, and basically it goes over all the topics that'll be on the test. the idea is that you'll get a sense of what you need to study and what you need to review if like you get something wrong on the sheet. And so anyway, so Ben's like, hey, like, do you know what the answer to question 1 is? And the spoiled kid is like, no. And Ben's like, okay, that's cool. Do you know what the answer to question 2 is? And the spoiled kid's like, no, I do not. And Ben's like, okay, that's cool as well. And then, do you know any of these answers? And the spoiled kid's like, no, and I don't care that I don't know them. So Ben's like, oh, so you're gonna study this week. And the spoiled kid is like, also, no, I have no plans to do that. And Ben's just like, well, I mean, you haven't got the answers correct here. You don't plan to study for it. So do you plan to fail the assignment? And Ben's like, no. In fact, I know I'll do better than you. And Ben was just like, bro, what are you saying? Like, of course you're not going to do better than me. Like, I know most of these answers, and I'm still going to study every single day of the week. And because it was getting a little heated, the spoiled kid and Ben were going back and forth. The teacher walks over and is like, guys, please, calm down. Like, it's just studying. Like, don't have to break into a brawl, right? Just because you're studying with a partner. Like, come on, guys, let's chill out a little bit. So anyways, they go back to like kind of like whispering at each other. Like Ben's like, dude, what do you even mean? And the spoiled kid's like, I'm going to do better than you. And I know that for a fact. So anyways, in the end of that class, Ben goes over and talks to his friend who's also in that class. It's like, hey, like, spoiled kid? He's like, yeah, I know spoiled kid. He's like, yeah, this kid doesn't know any of the answers, isn't going to study, and says he's going to do better than me. And the kid's like, well, your friend, like, spoiled kid's either delusional or he's planning on cheating. And let me just say that the friend was incredibly correct with the second statement. He was not delusional. Oh, I mean, he was a bit delusional, but he didn't think, the spoiled kid knew that, if he didn't study and he didn't know the answers, he wasn't going to get a good grade on this test, legitimately. So the spoiled kid already knew that his plan was not to study, but his plan was to cheat on this assignment. So anyways, the next couple days go by, and by the last day before class, or the last day, actually, yes, the lunch before class, because Ben and all those people had their class period right after lunch. So they were all sitting at lunch. It is like they have like 20 minutes before the big assessment, and they're all sitting at the table together just because, I don't know, they just happen to be. And, someone asks about like, hey, does everyone feel ready? And everyone says yes. And the spoiled kid proclaims extremely proudly, I know for a fact that I'm going to do the best out of everyone here. And someone's like, okay, like, what's like, and then one of the kids at the table asks them a very basic question, right? A very basic question that if you studied or would have like prepared, you would have known. It's a very basic question that was probably going to be like question 1 on the test. The spoiled kid said, I have no idea. And the kids are like, everyone at the table breaks out and like, whoa, what? Everyone's like, some people are like laughing. Some people are just like, oh my God. And the kid who asked the question is like, dude, that's like the easiest question possible. How are you proclaiming that you're going to do better than everyone else at this test while you can't even get question 1 correct, dude? Like, no offense, but I really don't think that you're going to get like 100% or do better than everyone here. And the kid says, I have a trick up my sleeve. And Ben was sitting at the table, and that's when Ben remembered that, like, his conversation with his friend, like, a couple days ago about the spoiled kid is either delusional or he's going to cheat. And the thing is, right, the spoiled kid didn't just say, I have a trick up my sleeve, like, as a figure of speech. He literally meant he has a trick up his sleeve, as you guys will see. So anyways, lunch is done, and it's finally time for the big assessment. So they all walk into class, they sit down, the teacher says, all right, guys, you have 60 minutes to finish this assignment or this test. I assume that it will take most people around, 40 minutes. Feel free to leave when you're done. I just, I made the test like 40 minutes long and give you 60 minutes just so you can look over your work. I highly suggest that you do. And anyways, when you get your test, you may begin. Teacher went around, started passing out the tests. Little pet peeve of mine is when a teacher says that, when you get the test, you may begin, and I happen to just be randomly at the back of the room, and I'm like the last person to get the test, and I get it like 2 minutes after the first person has started. I'm like, bro, can I get those 2 minutes back? Whatever, though. Anyway, so the tests are handed out, and Ben is going through it, and he's like filling in the answers, and the test honestly is not as hard as he expected. That might have been because, he paid attention in class and studied, but either way, the test was not as difficult as he imagined it was going to be. And that's when he looked over at the spoiled kid, because he's like, okay, if I'm doing fine, if I'm doing okay, no way the spoiled kid's doing okay. Because he's like, while Ben knew that the answers were easy for him, he knew that if he didn't study nor pay attention, which the spoiled kid clearly did not, that he would have not got a single answer on this test, right? So he looks over at the spoiled kid, and sure enough, right, the spoiled kid is answering questions. And he's like, what? That's ridiculous. And that's when, he looks closer, and the spoiled kid is looking at his paper, writing something down, and then lifting down his sleeve and looking at a bunch of writing on his arm. And Ben's like, bro, I'm pretty sure, right? I'm pretty sure that the spoiled kid does not have a tattoo. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on this one. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm pretty sure the spoiled kid, last time I checked, does not have a frickin' tattoo on his arm. So Ben wasn't about a snitch, which, look, if someone's cheating in the class and you tell the teacher, I'm not going to do it personally, but I wouldn't hate you if you did. I can see where you're coming from that. But Ben personally was like, all right, screw this kid for cheating when we're all trying. But at the end of the day, this is 8th grade. I don't really care. Whatever, kid can do what he wants. So anyways, the spoiled kid continues to cheat egregiously. He's not even trying to hide it. This might have been part of the overconfidence that he had for being a spoiled kid, right? Because he keeps very clearly lifting down his sleeve, looking at his arm, and then lifting it back up and writing on the test. And the problem for the spoiled kid was that he was doing it so obviously that the teacher caught on. And in the middle of class, Ben is looking down, and then Ben happens to look up. I think Ben was looking at the clock at the front of the room to see what the time was. Maybe he was just thinking, so he had to stare into space. But he looks up at the teacher, and he sees the teacher sitting at the front of his desk. And the teacher isn't looking at a piece of paper. He isn't doing paperwork. He isn't on his phone. He's not on his computer. The teacher is staring at a student. And Ben is like, why is the teacher staring at a student? This is really weird. So anyways, right, he looks and he kind of looks at where the teacher is staring, and he sees the teacher is staring directly at the spoiled kid, as the spoiled kid very obviously is cheating in class. So after about 30 seconds of the teacher just watching spoiled kid cheat again and again and again, he gets up and he walks over very quickly, and he grabs the spoiled kid's arm and pulls down the sleeve and is like, I need to talk to you outside right now. So anyways, he grabs the spoiled kid, drags him out of class, and everyone kind of turns around and is like, ooh, someone's in trouble. You know how that goes. So anyways, the class continues on. People finish their tests and assignments, and the teacher comes back into class. But who doesn't come back into class? The spoiled kid. Supposedly, he was sent up to the front office and, stuff like that. The thing is about those teachers, he made it very clear in the beginning of the year. He's like, you know what? I will be very nice with giving you extra credit. I'll be very nice with giving you makeup assignments. I'll be very nice about, I don't know, giving you whatever you need, right? If you need an extra credit assignment, if you put work on your paper showing that you know stuff from class, I can help you with that. I will help you get you a good grade if you show that you try. However, if I see or catch you cheating, I will fail you on the assignment. You will get a 0, no questions asked. He said, I'm very nice on the helping side, but if you break this trust, I will have no mercy. He basically made that very clear. So I think that's a very fair stance to take as a teacher, but it's a very, very strict one, at least apparently in the class. So Ben was pretty clear right away that, he realized okay, so spoiled kid, he's not going to do better than everyone else, actually. He's actually about to fail this. And sure enough, the spoiled kid did fail. However, spoiled kid was not going down without a fight, because the spoiled kid had another trick up his sleeve, not literal writing, but a figure of speech. He had his Karen mother, and his Karen mother was about to come into class the next day, and it's about to be the craziest Karen experience with the spoiled kid you've ever heard of. Real quick, comment Karen if you made it this far into the video. I just like to see how many people made it this far and see the names and faces. And I'll try and heart a bunch of comments of people who do. And also, if you want to support the channel, all you got to do is after this video, watch another video. Just watching a bunch of my videos really does boost the channel. And let me know in the comment section down below what you're doing while watching my videos. Some people are just watching my videos, but some people are playing a video game, trying to go to sleep. That's totally cool. I used to take offense, but now I understand it's super important. Anything like that, let me know in the comments. And also, if you use code ConnorPugs on GamerSupps, you get 10% off anything that they have. It supports you by giving you 10% off. It actually also supports me if you use the code and get something there. And also something I forgot to say in kind of like the video introducing this partnership is if enough of you guys actually go there and get product using the code, if enough of our community goes and uses the code, we might actually be able to make our own custom cup, which is super cool. And I think it's like the first almost like type merch type thing we'd ever be able to do. So if you do that, make sure to actually go to my Instagram or go to Discord. And if you buy something using the code, send me an image and I'll follow you back or add you on Discord or whatever. I'll try and say thank you in some way. Anyways, let's get back to the story. So, all right, just a little recap of what just happened. The kid got caught cheating and he's coming back the next day. But as I said earlier, he's coming back with a new trick up his sleeve, his Karen mom. And I also have two guests to help commentate on the story as I'm telling the story. They'll give a little live opinion on this. Say hello to Tagswagon and Gween. Yeah, you might have watched their channels. Both their channels will be in the description. Tagswag does stories like me, and Gween does reaction type stuff. You'll like both of them. But anyways, right, let's just get into it, and I'll have them hop in every once in a while. So, right, the next day comes around, and, Ben is back in class, and the teacher is handing back the tests or assignments or whatever, and kids are doing pretty well. There was one kid who was very clearly not in the class. It was a spoiled kid. The spoiled kid was not in the class because he was waiting. He was coming in with the extra, with his secret weapon, right? 10 minutes in the class, boom, door slams open. And who is it? It's not just the spoiled kid, it is also the Karen. And the Karen knows that the spoiled kid failed the assignment because he cheated. And if you cheat, you get a 0 in this class, right? And he was caught cheating. And she comes in, and the Karen is like, "Where's the teacher? Where's the teacher? I need to speak to him." And the teacher is very clearly a teacher standing right there. And the teacher turns around and is like, "Hello, ma'am? Hello?" So Karens are very clearly the worst. And Gween and Tagswag actually have their own little Karen story when they were at work. Take it away.
So basically, there was this Karen at our work, and
I hate to see it.
yeah,
She
she came in one day, and when we saw her there, it was just already that moment kicked in. Like,
you knew it?
Yep,
Yeah,
I just
you
knew it.
She had the haircut and everything. And,
you
oh
already
my
know.
god, it was bad. It just like those typical Karens you see on the internet.
Sometimes you just know. Sometimes you just know. But,
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah,
what
I
happened?
knew right away. So she bought something. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. She bought something.
12-inch Dilton. No, never mind.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so she bought something, left the store, but then she came back in like she was pissed. I don't know what for. I don't know why. But she just went up to like.
Day, so,
No,
I'm gonna
yeah,
say
she
that.
probably-
But anyways, yeah, what happened?
She just fucking went up to the customer service desk, and she was heated. She was so mad. I don't know why. I couldn't really tell what was happening.
What was she saying?
She's like, "Can I speak to your manager?" or something
No
like
way,
that.
she
Like, let
said
me
the-
get to
she
the.
said the line.
She said the line, something
guys.
like the line. She's like, "Can I speak to your manager?" something like that. And then, what happened after that? Oh yeah, and then she threatened to like fire like the person that was back there at the time.
Was
Yeah,
she
I don't know.
over
She's
at the
like, "I'm gonna
store?
get you fired."
Oh no,
Yeah.
she's like a legit Karen.
Mm-hmm. No,
That's
she
crazy,
was
that's
pretty
crazy.
legit. And yeah, I was shocked. Like I was just staring at it like a deer in the headlights. I'm like, what the fuck
A
is
real
happening?
life Karen sighting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hate to see it.
crazy.
All right, well, that was an example of a Karen, and now back to the story with our Karen. So anyways, right, Karen comes into class, and she's like, "You failed my son, and he did nothing wrong." And the teacher's like, "Well, no, I have proof that he was cheating. I saw him cheating. Like, I pulled down his elbow, and all the answers were on his arm." So at this point, right, the Karen is basically telling the teacher, "No, my son wasn't cheating. You don't have any proof." And the teacher goes on to say, "Well, actually, I brought him into the front office because, cheating's a pretty big deal. And, the principal here saw the writing on his arm and actually took a photo of it. So it's pretty hard to say that he didn't have the writing, like that he wasn't cheating in class. And the Karen says, well, my little boy came back home with no writing on his arm, and he told me that you were lying about the whole thing because you hate him specifically because his genius intimidates you. Teacher's like, what? His genius, what? The Karen's like, yeah. You know what? I thought teachers wanted to nurture genius. I thought teachers wanted to breed the next generation of Einsteins. But no, you hate him because he's smarter than you. Teacher's like, ma'am, your son is very great, I guess. However, that's not what happened here. And, he goes on to say, I caught him cheating. The Karen's like, you know what? You're a terrible teacher. You're bad at your job. And speaking of Karens calling people bad at their jobs, I got another story from Nguyen of when a Karen told him that he was bad at his bagging job, which of course a Karen would do that.
Okay, so basically, I used to work at a grocery store. Well, me and Tag Swag did. And pretty much, there was this one lady who just absolutely hated me for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know if she was a regular or what, but she would come in every so often, and I kind of just noticed her glaring at me whenever she came in. And basically, this lady, she came through my line, and I was bagging. I don't know. I don't remember specifically what I bagged that got her mad. Maybe it was because I don't remember. It was like I put eggs with bread, and she got pissed. Oh my God.
No. How could you?
Yeah.
God damn.
I put eggs with bread, and she got pissed off. I don't know how, I don't know why people care that much, but she told me that I was terrible at my job because...
Did she start throwing the eggs at you or something?
Well, that would have been a great story if she did. Oh my God. Yeah, I probably would have gotten fired because I would have threw eggs back at her, but that would have been worth it. Yeah,
biblical stuff.
Yeah, that would have been worth it. So yeah, but that's pretty much it.
Not the Karen story. Yeah. All right, so as you can see, Karen's big bad, especially when they claim oh my God, you're bad at your job, something that I have no idea about and you're probably good at. But anyways, right, so the Karen is like, yeah, and you're terrible at your job. You should have nurtured my son. And the teacher goes, ma'am, I've told everyone that if they need help, my doors are always open. In fact, I gave them a week notice that this test was coming. I gave them no homework this entire week so that they could have the ability to study each day. And each day I had some sort of in-class assignment that was around the test. He had all the time in the world to prepare for it. Come on now. This is ridiculous. And the Karen starts being like, you know what? You're the one who's lying. Show me proof. Show me proof that he's cheating. And the teacher's like, okay. And the Karen's kind of like, what? And the teacher goes to his computer, types something up, and sends an email to the front desk saying, hey, can you fax over the photos of, the kid's arm that had all the notes on it, right? And he had a fax machine, which was this the 1980s. Was there a fax machine in the story? But anyways, he's waiting around. The Karen's like, nice try. I'm calling your bluff right now. And the little spoiled kid is sitting there next to the Karen, looking a little bit nervous because, kid was cheating, right? They got a photo of him. But anyways, right, the Karen is so confident, my little boy would never lie to me. You're lying, and I'm going to prove it to everyone. And everyone in the class is just kind of sitting there, just bro, what's going on? And sure enough, the fax machine rings, the piece of paper comes out. I don't know, maybe it was a printer. Somehow he got the image on his computer, got it out there, pulls it up and says, this was your son's arm. The Karen looks at it. The Karen looks at it closely. And you could see the expression on the Karen's face of oh yeah, I'm wrong here. And the Karen's like, no, you know what? This was photoshopped. And the teacher's like, what? The Karen's like, yes, this was very clearly photoshopped because my son would never, ever do anything like this. It's so obvious that you photoshopped this. And the teacher's like, what? What do you mean? No, obviously not. And he turns to class. He says, class, did anyone's, you saw that, yesterday, right? Everyone in the class, says yes. And even Ben at this point is yeah, I actually saw the kid, cheating the entire time. The teacher turns to all of them and says, you're all in on it. And he turns to the teacher, how much did you pay them off to say this? Speaking about complaining about when you get a grade that you deserve and you think that you deserve a different grade, which is so annoying to me. Like, there's always a kid in my class who's like, no, I got a 99. I'm like, bro, I got an 80. Chill. But anyways, right, I'm going to pass the phone over for a little rant on this.
Bro, I did not like just the kids that would rant about that shit. It was so annoying. Like, whenever I'd get a test back, I got an 85. There was always that kid in the back that was like, no, I got a 95.
No!
Oh my God.
My world is over.
No, the world's over.
No.
You got 95.
No!
Nah, I don't know. I just felt like, damn, bro, that's just ungrateful. How could you be pressed with a 95?
Also disrespectful to everyone else in class.
Yeah.
You probably didn't get the 95. And you have to say, no, everyone, I got 95, and I'm so sad about it. I'm so good at school. Just shut up, bro. Like, come on, John. Like, that's enough. That's enough. But yeah, anyways, right, so the Karen and the teacher are having a standoff because the Karen has just been like, oh no, like, everyone is wrong but me. If you're ever in a place, unless you're like a genius scientist and you're saying the words, everybody is wrong but me, you're probably not right here. That's all I'm trying to say. But anyways, right, so the Karen is like, no, you're all wrong, and I'm going to get the manager of the school. He's like, superintendent? Yes, him. Give me his contact. And the teacher's kind of a savage for this. Just gives the Karen his own number just to mess with her, and we'll text her back or whatever, right? And the Karen's like, yeah, and you know what? I'm calling the police, I'm calling the manager, I'm getting you fired, and I'm suing everyone here. And the Karen starts pointing to everybody in class. And the teacher's like, are you threatening to sue the kids in class? And she says, yes. And at this point, right, everyone's just looking at the Karen, almost like embarrassed for her at this point. Because it's very clear that, in the beginning she came in super confident, like, yeah, this teacher is wrong, my kid is awesome. But, midway through, she gets literal physical proof that her son was cheating. And now she has to, I don't know, she doesn't accept it. Which whenever you're called out, it's so much better if you just be like, all right, I'm wrong, you're right, I'm sorry. So much smoother than being like, you're all lying, I'm right and you're all wrong, which you're not right, And the Karen was continuing to kind of pout and fuss or whatever, and the teacher must have sent another note to the school saying that they have an incident because 2 security officers walk into the class and the Karen's like, you can't kick me out of here, this is public property. And, Karen, and the teacher's like, well, this is a school. It's not like I'm kicking you out of a park or something. And she's like, no, you don't understand. She starts, getting all physical. And the 2 security guards are like, all right, ma'am, you don't want to do this here. And she's like, spoiled kid, you're coming with me. Obviously says his real name. But, whenever I have more than one name, I immediately mix them up. And you'll bully me in the comments. So, no name for you. And spoiled kid, she's like, spoiled kid, come with me. You know what? We're getting out of the school. We're getting out of this school district. You're all corrupt and wrong. And they walk out of the class. However, since everyone in the class is so quiet after that just happens, because that's the craziest thing to ever just happened, right? They hear the Karen speaking in the hallway, because it kind of echoes in. And she's like, next time when you lie to me, or next time, don't lie to me because I just embarrassed myself in front of everyone. How could you cheat on that assignment and then convince me that, and then the voices trail off and everyone in class realizes that the Karen was full of it and was just trying to save face. But anyways, right, so the teacher's like, all right, class, well, I don't know what to do because what just happened? Everyone kind of laughs a little bit, right? And he's like, you know what? I'm just going to put on a movie and just reconsider my life. And puts on a movie. Everyone watches it. And the spoiled kid does not return. It is such an embarrassment that his mom is like, you know what, screw it, we're moving districts, and puts him in another school nearby. But Ben never hears from the spoiled kid again. And moral of the story is just don't be that kid. Yeah, bye.
Click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it.
How's it going, everyone? I hope you're having a great day. Today we have 2 stories of incredibly crazy and ridiculous Karens. I know you'll enjoy them. So sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Just so you know, you can watch these videos on Spotify, links in the description. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to my Instagram account. It's @ConnorPugs. Follow me on there and then submit me the story via DM. So the first subscriber we're going to call Jason. And anyways, in Jason's class, there's a kid. And this kid was kind of a little bit entitled, but the reason why he was entitled was because he had a massive Karen mom. Like, and I don't mean like massive physically, I don't know that, but like she was such a Karen, like the biggest Karen ever. And so anyways, right, there was a test that was coming up. It wasn't even that big of a test. It was kind of more like a quiz, but you had to do like 10 minutes of studying to be good for it. Like maybe some kids need to do 20 or something. But the average person in the class needed to do 10 minutes of studying to know like the 5 or 6 vocab words they were going to be quizzed on, right? And the thing was, this kid who we're just going to call the entitled kid, just didn't feel like doing that 5 to 6 minutes. You know what? Sometimes I've not studied for quizzes in class that I really could have easily studied for. And at the end of the day, that just sometimes happens. We all make mistakes. However, the entitled kid decides that in class, he's just going to cheat. So anyways, Jason's sitting in class. He's waiting for the teacher to walk around and hand out kind of like the word, like the piece of paper. Basically, the way it works is he says a really fancy word, and then you have to write down the definition for it. It has to basically be the dictionary definition or close to it. You can't really guess and get away with it. So as, you know, the teacher's going around handing out papers, Jason looks over and sees the entitled kid, you know, kind of fumble around, you know, with his hoodie. And he's like, okay, that's kind of weird. So the teacher goes to the front of the class and he starts reading aloud the words. And Jason is like writing down the definitions because he knows them by heart. He doesn't need to he doesn't need to cheat or anything. He doesn't have to really try. He just knows these definitions from studying. But Jason looks around and he sees the entitled kid take his sleeve and pull it down. And Jason could see that there was 5 things written very clearly on his arm in like Sharpie or whatever. So sure enough, right, you know, the teacher says like the second word, the third word, and after the third word, you know, Jason writes it down and he looks up and he sees the teacher staring at a student and he looks over and sure enough, the teacher is looking at Jason who's writing the stuff on his arm and walks over immediately, like grabs his sleeve before he could pull it up. And is like, Jason, like, entitled kid, he says his actual name, but he's like, entitled kid, are you cheating? And the kid's like, no. He's like, okay, you're coming with me. Because you can't really get yourself out of it. I mean, you literally wrote down on your arm saying, like, you wrote down all the answers on your arm. There's no way you're getting out of this, bro. I hate to break it to you, but there's no way that you're getting out of this. So anyways, right, you know, the teacher brings this entitled kid to the front of the office, kind of like reports him or whatever. They document the case, and it's not like the biggest deal ever. However, right, you know, the kid gets like a yelling at, and like his mom's called, and probably the biggest thing is that the teacher has a policy, and it's kind of the school-wide policy. If you're caught cheating, you get a 0. And the thing is, right, it wasn't a huge assignment. Like, look, getting a 0 on anything when it comes to your grades is not a good thing, right? It will definitely bring down your average significantly. However, it wasn't like a major assessment that was going to keep him at an F or a D no matter what he did. He was going to be okay. However, the entitled kid's Karen mom was not a fan of this, and she went really, really far. So anyways, skip ahead to the next day. Jason and all of his friends and everyone at the school, they're sitting in this kind of like auditorium type place because it is like the school meeting. They have it every Wednesday morning where basically the principal comes on stage, says any announcements. If the school has any like performances, like, I don't know, the arts or theater or something want to show off or something, or they have a special guest speaker, it's kind of just a time once a week where the entire school comes together and kind of just goes over everything. However, this kind of like, we're going to call it a morning meeting, went super crazy and went super wrong because it was hijacked by an insane Karen. Anyways, right, so Jason's just sitting there. He's not really thinking anything of it. One of his friends is actually talking about how the entitled kid, like, I saw him, like, I was in, like, Mr. Marsh's math class, and I was sitting by the door seat, and I was able to see him dragged out by the teacher, and, like, the entitled kid was, like, saying that he wasn't cheating. The teacher was like, dude, you have it, like, written on your arm. Okay, maybe the teacher didn't say dude, but you know what I mean? And the kid goes on to say, yeah, and I heard that he was, like, his mom was on the phone with him, and she was yelling, and the kid got a 0. ago. Jason's like, yeah, dude, that happened in my class. It was pretty crazy. So anyways, right, the principal goes on stage. Is like, hey, school, or like, I don't know, Springfield Elementary, Simpsons reference, right? Welcome to, like, it is, like, January 14th, happy Wednesday, today's announcements are, and that's when someone storms on stage. It's a woman with a Karen haircut, so you already know what's coming, right? A woman with a Karen haircut, aviator sunglasses, a big flower dress, a bag on her shoulder, and these little shoes, right? Goes pop, 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 goes on stage and snatches the microphone out of the principal's hand and says, I am entitled kid's mother, says the actual name of the kid. I'm entitled kid's mother, and I'm making a public announcement that I am suing this school for malpractice, which I don't think that's the right word, but whatever. And everyone's like, what? And then, like, everyone in the audience is kind of talking. They're like, what, bro? What's going on? And the principal is looking at her. So obviously, this was not part of the itinerary. The principal is like, okay, first thing, I come on, and then second thing, this woman decides to randomly ram on stage and say she's suing the school, and third thing is the arts performance. No, this was crazy. This was out of the blue, and the principal looks at her and is like, ma'am, like, I don't know who you are. What is this? And she said, I am entitled kid's mom, and yesterday he was falsely failed on an assignment where he deserved a 100% because he was going to get all the answers right. You have a corrupt staff here, and I'm going to sue the school for every penny that they have. And the woman literally starts, like, running, doesn't run off stage, but, like, angrily, like, stomps off stage. And everybody turns to Entitled Kid, because Entitled Kid was sitting in the audience. And Entitled Kid is literally just staring straight ahead. Like, kids are talking at him, they're pointing at him. He's not paying any attention. He's got laser focus in front of him. He's just like, all right, tunnel vision. I'm not paying attention to any of it. So Jason turns to his friend and is like, dude, what? And his friend's like, yeah, I can't imagine this is actually happening. Like, this is going way too far. Next day comes around, and we go back to Jason and Entitled Kid's English class where this whole thing went down. So Entitled Kid wasn't there that day, and it was, or at least in the beginning, Entitled Kid didn't show up. And the teacher addresses the class. He's like, hey, class, we're going to go into, like, our regular content in just a second, but, I got to address the elephant in the room. Most of you, I assume, and I hope, that were at morning meeting yesterday, and you probably witnessed, something that is kind of related to our class going down. A mother of one of our students, who happens not to be here, coincidence, I think not, has decided to sue the school for, me giving her son a 0% or failing him because he was cheating. That is a school-wide policy. In fact, I think many schools have that policy. I do not think the lawsuit will go through, but I just want to let you guys know that some of you guys might be asked of your perspective. You might have to do some interviews, and there might be some lawyers present coming around if this goes anywhere. I really don't think it will, but I just thought I'd let you guys know. In the middle of the sentence, door goes boom, door opens up, and two lawyers walk in with the Karen mom and the Entitled Kid. And the Karen mom is like, hello, Mr. Davenport. And he's like, oh, hello, Miss Entitled Kid. Or hello, Miss Karen. And she's like, I and my two lawyers will be accompanying my son today in your class. And they all four of them go to the back of the room. The Entitled Kid sits down. The Karen sits down. And the two lawyers just kind of stand there awkwardly. And the teacher's like, okay, ma'am, like, did you run this through with the front of the school? And she laughs. She's like, ha ha ha, why would I need to run it through the front of the school? I'm suing you guys. All of your assets and money and employees will be mine soon enough. So does it really matter? And he's like, ma'am, like, this is disruptive to the class. I don't think I can teach in this environment. Did you run this through at the front of the school? And she says, I was planning on just suing the school, but if you make me mad enough, I will sue you as an individual as well. And the teacher's like, ma'am, please, like, for the sake of learning for not just your son, but all of his classmates, can we please not do this? Like, I don't know why you need a lawyer here. Maybe one lawyer, but do you all need to be here? And she said, you're making me quite mad. Teach. And the teacher's like, okay, and he makes a little note to himself, probably like to call the principal, make sure this doesn't happen again. But Jason, it tells me that this is probably the most awkward English class he has ever sat through. Like, this might be the worst English class that he has ever been through in his life. Because he's sitting there, the teacher is super uncomfortable at this point. Teacher is super uncomfortable, and, everyone's just staring. Like, no one's paying attention to him. They're all turned around looking at the lawyers, the Karen, and the entitled kid. And the entitled kid isn't even paying attention. He's on his phone. But I don't think the teacher was trying to stir up any more controversy, because imagine the teacher's like, entitled kid, get off your phone. The Karen would be like, that's blasphemy. Sue him for all he's got, officers. Or, I don't know, she'd do something stupid like that. So yeah, sure enough, they actually try, bring it to court. So over the next couple weeks, the Karen files like an actual complaint in front of a judge. And a lot of the rest of the story is not from Jason's firsthand account. It's just from Jason's mom, Jason's friend, and what he's kind of heard around. So there's going to be some details that might not have actually been true to the story, but it's just what Jason was told. So basically what Jason was told was that, what happened was that, the Karen tried to bring it to court, and it was brought before a judge. And it was filed incorrectly or something. So they get there, and it's the teacher, it's the school administration, and then it's the Karen and the lawyers. And the Karen goes on, the judge is kind of like, all right, let's hear what it is. And the Karen goes on to say, yes, Your Honor, my son was caught cheating in class. And he's like, okay. And he was failed improperly. I'm suing the school for all it's worth. The judge is like, what? And she's like, well, no, you didn't hear me. They failed my son, so I'm suing the school for all it's worth. Well, that doesn't make sense. What part of that do you need clarification on? And the judge is like, ma'am, you can't, that's not a thing. You can't sue the school for that. That's nonsense. You don't even have, a reason to sue them. She said, well, because they were very distressing to my son. And he's like, do you have any, psychological documentation? She's like, no, just look at him. And the spoiled kid, or the entitled kid who is apparently sitting there, is kind of like, what, bro? Do I really look that bad? What are you talking about? Pause, bro, what? And sure enough, the judge is like, this case is ridiculous, and they throw it out. So a couple weeks later, the spoiled kid comes into class, because or the entitled kid, he's actually been gone for 2 weeks, because after that first time with the Karen and the lawyers, the principal basically made a deal saying, hey, this kid won't be checked as absent, but he can't be coming in with his lawyers and you, ma'am. And the Karen's like, fine, we'll focus on suing your bets. And they failed, right? So the entitled kid comes into class one day with no lawyers and no Karens, and he very awkwardly sits at the back of the class. And the teacher's like, oh, entitled kid, welcome back. You're just in time for our next vocab test. And sure enough, right, the teacher hands it out, and the entitled kid is like, well, I didn't have a chance to study for this one. And the teacher is like, hold his breath a little bit. He's like, well, isn't that just too bad? So the second story, I'm going to call the subscriber Josh. And Josh and his subscriber, Josh was younger, and, Josh and the subscriber, Josh and his mom, Josh and the subscriber, they decided to set up a lemonade stand. But if you don't know to, sell stuff like that, you need, permits or something, technically. But the truth is, who's going to care? It's a little kid with a lemonade stand. So anyways, Josh is out there, and he has his lemonade stand, and he was planning all weekend to set it up. So it was a really big deal to him. It was really cool. He went and bought the lemonade, or the lemons, and the sugar, and the water, and the pitchers, and he got all the cups, and he got the cardboard cutouts, and the pens, and he decided the prices. And basically, his parents were like, okay, we'll pay for everything you need, but we're going to need the money back that we spent. You get to take anything extra. So they made sure they did the math with him to make sure he made profit. So this was cool. This is first little business experience, and he was really excited. So they decided to put their lemonade stand on the corner of the block that they lived on, and people and cars would drive by and walk by, and many people stopped because Josh was a little kid, and he was super cute or whatever, and they're like, oh, sure, whatever, we'll buy your overpriced, terrible lemonade to make that little boy smile. You know how it is. And that's when the neighborhood Karen very entitledly walked over. I don't know if that's an actual word, entitledly, I don't think so. But if it is, if it's not, we're gonna make it one, and we're gonna apply it to the walk. She was walking super entitled. Whatever that means, imagine it, and that's what it is, right? So she was walking over, and she's like, hello there, young man. You guys are selling lemonade? And the mom's like, yes, ma'am, would you like some? She says, no, these prices are quite ridiculous. Which, like, dude, shut up. But, the mom is like, oh, okay, well, I'm sorry, we can't do business. And Josh was, like, all sad or whatever. And she's like, you know what? Show me your license. The mom's like, what? And Josh is kind of like, in his head, he's like, what's a license? She said, you have a stand, you have a food stand, you're selling stuff to other people on my block. My block, of course, whatever. Show me your license. What's your vendor's license for operation here? And the mom's like, ma'am, this is just a little lemonade stand I'm doing with my son. We don't have a license. She said, oh, so you don't have a license? And she pulls out her phone. And she's like, well, I'm so sorry to ruin your little fun parade, but I must keep the safety of my friends and family in the neighborhood as a top priority. And the Karen whips out her phone and calls 911. Bro, what? Real quick, comment Karen down below if you made it this far into the video. I'll try and heart a bunch of comments. If you want to know how to really support the channel, watch a bunch of videos. Like, sit down and watch a bunch of videos. And comment down below, how many videos have you watched today? Or if you want to, how many videos have you watched this week? I just like to know who's supporting the channel by watching a bunch of videos, and I just want to say thank you. Also, use code ConnorPugs on GamerSupps for 10% off. You can get really good energy drinks and also other apparel. If you use the code, it helps me, but it also helps you. And if enough of us use the code, we might be able to make our own custom cup, which is pretty cool. And also, we're on Spotify, and if you want to listen to it on the go, or you dislike Spotify, please make sure to go check that out. It's in the description. Send stories to my Instagram and join the Discord server. All the fun stuff's in the description of this video, and let's get back to the story. So anyways, right at this point, the Karen has whipped out her phone, and she's calling 911. And Josh's mom is basically pleading with her, like, ma'am, please, this is my fun, like, my son and I are doing this. Trust me, we got all of our ingredients from trusted sources. Nothing's gonna hurt anyone. Like, what? Well, like, this is, like, ridiculous. This is, like, can you please just not do that? And eventually, she's on the phone with 911. She's like, hello, officers, I would like to report a disturbance. It is incredibly important. Someone is selling a food without a license, and I think it's making everyone sick. Please come to, I don't know, the corner of 7-8 Pleasant Drive Avenue Street runway, whatever, right? And so the officers are like, yeah, okay, we'll be right there. Because they think that someone's selling, like, pink sauce or something. I don't know, man. And so sure enough, right, the Karen stands there. It's like, I'm going to wait here to make sure the officers destroy this stand. And Josh is starting to tear up a little bit. He's a little kid. And Josh's mom kind of, like, squeezes his hand and is like, ma'am, like, this is ridiculous. Like, what if your grandkids did this? Like, would you want someone calling the cops on them? She said, yes, absolutely. If they were being a harm to my community, then yes. And then, Josh is like, do you have any grandkids? She's like, well, no, but if I did, I'd totally want them arrested right now. And Josh's mom's like, okay, well, that figures. And she's like, look, ma'am, what is the point of this? My son just wants to learn a little business experience, right? Just a little business experience. Like, there's no reason for you to be doing this. And she said, there is plenty of reason for me to be doing this. This is ridiculous on your part. You're basically saying that you should be allowed to poison everyone and I should just die in a hole. And Josh's mom's like, what? What? When did I say that? Are you serious? And she's like, what? Well, poison everyone, die in a hole. What are you talking about? And the Karen's like, oh, here come the officers now. And so sure enough, a police car starts coming down towards them. And Josh is a little scared at this point because he's just a little kid. The police officer stops over and gets out. And he's like, I got a call about an unlicensed vendor. And the Karen's like, officer, right here, officer. I'm the one who called. The officer's like, yeah, okay, what's up? Like, where's this vendor? Is it down there? And the Karen's like, right here. And she points to the lemonade stand with the little kid who's crying and the mom. She says, tear down this lemonade stand. Kick it down. Destroy it. They don't have a license, officer. They don't have a license. The officer, with his sunglasses on, his big bushy mustache, is just looking at the Karen. Is like, ma'am, did you really call me over here to bust down a little kid's lemonade stand? And she says, but officer, they don't have a license to operate like this. They're super illegal. And the officer's like, ma'am, I'm not going to shut down a little kid's lemonade stand. Normally, the 911 line is used for actual emergencies, not busting this little kid's fun day. And the Karen's like, what did you say to me? He's like, you're wasting my time. She says, say it one more time. And the Karen waddles over to the officer. And the officer's like, yeah, you're wasting my, boom. Karen literally socks him in the face with her, doesn't actually do that much damage because she's like a Karen and has zero power, right? But the officer, she's like, that's what you get for disrespecting your elder. In the middle of that, officer turns her around, puts her in handcuffs. She's like, what? What are you doing? This is ridiculous. I'm not the one breaking the law. And she's like, what? And the officer's like, well, actually, you just socked me in the face. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. Okay, he didn't say pretty sure. She's like, yeah. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you just socked me in the face. Like, you're coming with me. And she didn't get, like, life or anything, but just, like, she was taken away, right? And the Karen, the entire time she's being put into the cop car, she's like, I'll come for your stand. I'll come for you. If they're not going to break down this stand and save humanity, I'll do it myself. Which, bro, save humanity. Calm down, Superman. You're not saving anything out here. You're just bored. You're bored and mean. So anyways, the officer, when he gets in the car, closes the door with the Karen screaming, comes over and says, ma'am, little boy kind of kneels down, looks at Josh, like, I'm so sorry you guys had to deal with this woman. Like, yes, technically, you need a license to be a street vendor, but this is very clearly not an operation like that. Like, just like, if we get any other calls about you, we'll try and dismiss them, but I'm sorry you had to deal with this today. And he said, oh, lemonade for $3? Yeah, you know what? I think I could get a glass. And you hear the Karen go, bum, 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 banging on the glass. Be like, no, it's poison. It's poison. Bum, 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 bum. The officer's like, okay, whatever. And he hands the $3 over. And, Josh's mom looks at Josh. Is like, hey, Josh, like, why don't you pour the nice officer a glass on the lemonade? And Josh goes over, pours in the lemonade, hands it to him. And, the officer takes a sip. Is like, oh, wow. This is really good. Thank you so much. Anyways, guys, have a nice day. And the officer drives off with the Karen. And no, the Karen was released later that day. Like, it wasn't actually that big of a deal. But yeah, they pulled down their stand in time. And apparently, Josh's mom told them this later, but Josh's mom was walking their dog when she saw the Karen standing where the stand used to be, because they took it down after a couple of hours. They only planned to do it for like 4 hours or something. And the Karen was like waving her fists and yelling or whatever. Apparently the Karen, once she was released, immediately went back to the scene, probably to try and kick down the stand herself, which is kind of ridiculous. But hey man, Karens be Karens. That's just
Click
how
on the
it
video on
goes.
screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it. Do it.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a story of a crazy Karen mom who tries to ruin her own son's wedding. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. It's pretty crazy. I know you'll enjoy it. So sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's call the subscriber who submitted this story Brian. Real quick, I made a Twitter account last night, and I'm seeing if we can get it to 1,000 followers within the day. So go and follow my Twitter at ConnorPugs. A screenshot is on screen right now. Yeah, go do it. Anyways, let's get into the story. So this is probably one of my older subscribers who submitted this story, because his name is Brian, and a couple years ago he married this girl named Kate, and they started dating, a while ago. And when they started dating, Brian's mom was not a fan of Kate. And the thing was, Kate didn't have like a troubled background, or she didn't have an extreme personality or anything. Kate was like the most standard like girl ever. Like imagine like your mom's perfect idea for someone to marry. That was basically Kate. To this day, Brian still has no idea why like his mom really hated Kate, but Brian's mom despised Kate from the first day that, she came over. The first day that she came over, Brian was introducing, Kate to his family. And, Brian's mom was just like really cruel to her at the dinner table. Like, she was asking really weird questions. Like, they were in college at that time. She's like, oh, what's your GPA? And when she said something that was pretty good, she's like, huh, I did better in school. Like, what's your major? And Kate said her major, and she's like, so you're just going to college for fun, huh? So anyways, right, Brian's mom has never been a fan of Kate for a very long time. However, that doesn't matter because Brian himself has been a fan of Kate for a while. By the way, you can listen to all these stories on Spotify. It's Connor Pugs. It's also in the description. Please rate it 5 stars. Anyway, so Brian continued to date Kate, and, Kate and Brian decided that they were going to be, kind of like lifetime partners. And Brian called up his parents before asking Kate to marry him. And, Brian's dad was happy for him. Brian's dad didn't really care. In fact, like, Brian's dad was separated from Brian's mom, so it's not like Brian's mom was able to convince him otherwise. Brian's dad was happy for Brian, said, hey, but, like, that's so great. I'm so excited for you. But Brian was about to call his mom, and he just knew that it just wasn't going to go down well. So Brian calls up his mom, and he explains that he's going to marry Kate. And Brian's mom's like, Brian, this is a great mistake. I'm telling you. I just have a gut feeling that, like, she's terrible for you, and she's going to cause ruin. Look, I've spoken on this channel a lot about, like, trust your gut instincts. Like, it's a good idea, but don't always do that. Sometimes you have preconceived notions about people or biases that just are really not rooted in reality. And so trust your gut most of the times, but in this case, this was not a time to. And Brian says, like, Mom, like, I've been in a relationship with this girl for 4 years now. We've gone through ups and downs, and I am now at this point very confident I want to marry her. And, Brian's mom's like, I won't allow it. And, Brian's family wasn't like some crazy traditional family or anything where it's like, oh, it's your parents must say yes or it can't happen. So Brian was like, okay, I'm sorry you don't like it. I'm just telling you because I have respect for you and I want you to know what's going to happen and I want you to be in my life. And Brian's mom's like, fine, I understand I can't do anything about it, but just so you know, I'm not going to be much nicer to her now that she's your wife or fiance. And Brian's like, okay, well, I'd like you to, but I guess I can't control you either. So Brian hung up pretty angrily, but the rest of the day was pretty good because he eventually, proposed to Kate, and, life was seeming pretty good. They start planning their wedding, and, Brian is like, maybe we have a small wedding without my mother. And Kate's like, Brian, I know your mother hates me, but I need, like, I know that you'll want her there. Like, I know that we'll want everyone who we love to be at our wedding. And Brian's like, okay, just want to say, like, can't say I didn't warn you on this one. She's like, yes, I know. It's going to be something. It's going to be very hard. I am aware, but, we need to invite her. So Brian eventually called up his mother and is like, hey, Mom, I just want to let you know, the wedding, you're formally invited. It's going to be on these dates. And Brian's mom is like, fine, I guess I'll show up. And Brian in his head is like, dude, I didn't even want to invite you because I knew that you're going to have crazy attitude problems. But Kate is insistent and, she makes a good point and, she's always right. So fine. And he's like, okay, well, here's the dates. Show up if you want. And Brian's mom's like, fine, I'll find room in my busy schedule. Like, dude, this is your own son's wedding. Your busy schedule will revolve around this, or it should at least. So anyways, let's skip ahead to kind of like the couple days of the wedding. So if you don't know, there's like a recital dinner or like a rehearsal dinner, actually, is what I meant to say, where a lot of weddings will have like a dinner before, where they have the bride, the groom, and most people invited at the wedding will get together at some restaurant or some place, and they'll all like sit around a table and eat dinner. And it's not like I don't know if it's like official part of like every wedding ceremony, but anyways, Brian and Kate decided to have this, and so anyways, they picked a spot that was like a restaurant that was close to the place of where the wedding was going to be the next day, and all the guests were kind of like funneling in. They had their assigned seats. And everyone got there except, Brian's mom. And Brian was kind of confused on what was happening. And that's when this was the first instance. What am I trying to say? This is the first example of Brian's mom being a crazy Karen. Because what happens, right, is Brian realizes, oh, the seat where my mom has reserved for her is empty. I wonder where she is. And that's when Brian hears a noise, a chant, like, Brian and Kate can't get married. Brian and Kate shouldn't be married. Brian and Kate
can't get married. Brian and Kate shouldn't be married. On like that from like the hallway. And Brian is like, what? He's just so confused because he's like, who's chanting that like me and my soon-to-be wife can't and shouldn't be married? This is ridiculous. And that's when Brian's mother marches into the room with a poster board with a photo of like it's a photo of Brian and Kate like it like expanded so it's big and printed out with a big X through it and it says cancel the marriage on the top and cancel the marriage on the bottom. And she starts walking around chanting, Brian and Kate can't be married. Brian and Kate shouldn't be married. Cancel the marriage. Cancel the marriage. Cancel the marriage. Cancel the marriage. And starts like hopping around like a giddy schoolgirl. Cancel the marriage. Cancel the marriage. Cancel the marriage. And at this point, right, all the guests are kind of like, oh my God, what's good? They're all kind of like mumbling like about each other. And that's when, Brian is like, Mom, he stands up. He's like, what is this? And Brian's mom's like, oh, Brian, sweetie, I'm here as your mother, and I'm doing my duty as the mother. Cancel the marriage. Cancel the marriage. Cancel the marriage. Cancel the marriage. And Brian's like, Mom, what are you doing? Like, this is insane. And she's like, no. You know what is insane, buddy? Is this marriage. Cancel the marriage. Cancel the marriage. Brian's like, Mom, stop. Like I invited you here because this is like our big day, and I wanted you to be a part of it. You're like, I invited you to the dinner so that we could have a nice conversation, and maybe you and Kate can reconcile your differences. And Brian's mom's like, oh, that's never going to happen. Cancel the marriage. Cancel the marriage. Cancel the marriage. Cancel the marriage. And Brian's like, oh my God. So he walks over and he's like, Mom, if you're not going to eat dinner with us, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. And she's like, you're kicking out your own mother from the dinner before the wedding? From the rehearsal dinner? You would do that? And Brian's like, well, yes, if you continue walking around with a poster board with an X through me and my fiance's face screaming, cancel the marriage. Brian and Kate can't be married. Brian and Kate shouldn't be married. Like, Mom, what? That chant isn't even that good. What's going on here? At this point, right, she's like, fine, I'm going to go protest outside. So Brian's Karen mom starts walking out being like, cancel the marriage, cancel the marriage. Brian and Kate can't be married. Brian and Kate shouldn't be married. And they're like legitimately like, she stands outside of the restaurant and you can hear faintly, because everyone's super quiet after she leaves for like a minute. And you can hear very faintly, Brian and Kate can't be married. Brian and Kate can't be married. Cancel the wedding. Cancel the wedding. At this point, Brian kind of like stands up and is like, hey guys, I'm sorry for that. Like, my mom's a little crazy. Like, ha ha ha. Everyone kind of laughs a little bit. Both because it was kind of a funny situation, but mostly because it was an incredibly awkward situation. They're all like, yeah, I remember when that happened at my wedding. Not. So anyways, Brian sat down, and Brian and Kate and some other very close family members near them discussed the wedding tomorrow. And Brian's like, oh my God, I can't believe my mother's doing this. I was on the fence of inviting her, and Kate's like, I'm so sorry for making you do that. And Brian's like, no. You had really good intentions. You wanted all the people we love to be here, and you did what was right. He said, now we just got to make sure that, the wedding goes off without a hitch. And let me just say that was not the case. In fact, that Karen was about to pull off one of the craziest heists in Karen history, believe it or not. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, comment Karen down below. I'm going to try and heart a bunch of comments to say Karen. I'm just curious to see the names and faces of people who made it this far. Also, if you want to continue supporting the channel or to help boost me in the algorithms, right, of YouTube, all you got to do is just keep on watching these videos after this one, or maybe at a later point in the day. Just keep watching the videos. videos. It really does help. Lots of watch time helps the channel. And please let me know in the comment section both how many videos you watched or are planning to watch today, and then also what are you doing while watching the videos. For example, some people have been telling me that watching my videos helps them go to sleep. And honestly, sleep's a hard thing. It's an important thing, so I'm honored that I can help you do that. And by the way, just a few things. If you want to like submit your own stories, go to my Instagram at ConnorPugs. That's where you can DM me the stories. Please follow the new Twitter account. I'd love to get 1,000 followers in a day, and that's one of the best ways I can talk to you guys. Join the Discord server, and also make sure that if you want to listen on Spotify that you do, and rate me 5 stars on there, follow, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. And I think that's all the plugging I have to do. Leave a like in the video for your free nothing. I'm bringing that back. And let's just get back to the stories, guys. Also, code ConnorPugs 10% off gamer subs. Please buy it. It's helping you out and helping me out. Anyway, so Brian and Kate are kind of worried. And they go to bed, and they're in the same bed, and Kate kind of like rolls over and is like, Brian, like, I'm worried about your mom. Brian's like, me too. And he says, you know what? This is our day. For the next 24 hours, let's make sure that we remember that this is our day. This is not my mom's day. This is not Uncle Joe's day. This is not your day or my day. It is our day. And let's make sure that everyone knows that, no matter what my mom does. And Brian says, hey, you know the security guards we hired? I'm going to tell them that if my mom does anything crazy or tries to run on stage and punch you in the face, and Kate kind of gets nervous. He's like, I don't think she's actually going to do that. But if she does, they'll make sure that she's banned, that they'll take care of it, and they'll ban her from the wedding, and we don't even have to worry about it. And Kate felt a little bit more reassured, and they went to bed. The next day, they wake up, and it's their wedding day. It's huge, it's stressful, it's awesome. It is all the life and emotion that, it encapsulates the human spirit. You'll love to see it. And sure enough, right, the day of the wedding, they get there. There's all these people rushing around, the bridesmaids, the hair, the makeup, the best man, all that kind of good stuff. People are in the lunch room because people are getting buffet-style lunch before the wedding. It's awesome. It's cool. You'll love to see it, all this fun stuff. And that's when someone runs up to Brian and says, hey, Brian, bad news. And Brian's like, oh my God, there's no way. And the guy's like, look, we put the wedding rings, we put them aside in this drawer last night. The whole place was locked up. And then when we came here this morning, we opened it up, and the wedding rings were still there. And then I just went back 10 minutes ago, and the wedding rings, they're gone. Brian, I don't know what happened. The wedding rings are gone. Sorry, I just took a sip of water so my voice doesn't explode. And he's like, what do you mean the rings are gone? He's like, dude, I don't know. I came here this morning. They were still here, but I checked in 10 minutes ago, and they're gone. They're gone, Brian. So Brian's like, all right, check the security camera footage. And so anyways, Brian calls up one of the people who work there, one of the staff, and they're like, hey, the rings just got stolen. We need to check the cameras. And they're like, oh my God, 100%, right away. And they had about an hour before the wedding, so there's a little bit of buffer time, but Brian, under no circumstances, was going to tell Kate during this time of massive stress for her, right before the wedding, right? He was not going to tell her that the rings have been stolen. That is just simply not going to happen. So Brian and the security guard and the guy who came over to tell him that the rings were gone, they all rushed over to the the place where they have the footage, and they look at it, and Brian, in his head, he thinks that there's a chance that it was someone stealing from them. He thinks that there's a chance that, I don't know, that someone was I don't know, trying to steal the rings. But Brian knew deep down it was his mother trying to sabotage the wedding, as she tried to do last night. And sure enough, you see the security camera. It's Brian's mom. She walks over, opens up the drawer, looks in both directions, takes the rings, and runs away, right? So immediately Brian's like, all right, find my mom. And his mom was sitting in the lunchroom. She got her buffet lunch, and she was sitting alone at the table. Because after last night's charade of the Brian and Kate shouldn't be married, cancel the wedding, cancel. After that whole nonsense, right? Not a lot of the people at the wedding really wanted to be friends with her or wanted to get to know her story. They just didn't feel they didn't want to spend the energy on that. So she was sitting alone. And, sure enough, Brian goes up to her and says, hey, Mom, is there anything you want to tell me by chance? Like, anything you want me to know? And Brian's mom's like, no, I'm just sitting here and I want to say the food's very nice. I just wanted to say that. I like the food a lot. And Brian just looks at her. And he's just like, Mom, I know what you did. She's like, what? What did I do? I don't know what I did. Do you know what I did? And he's like, yes, Mom, there's security cameras. And she's like, oh. And he's like, Mom, how could you steal the wedding rings on the day of my wedding? Like, that's insane. And she's like, I'm doing all of this for you. You can't see it. You don't understand that witch has put a spell on you. And she's going to take all your money and your organs and sell them on the black market. And, he's just like, what? Mom, what? So at this point, Brian's like, Mom, I only have 45 minutes before the wedding starts. Just tell us where the rings are. We won't make a fuss about this. And she's like, no, I'm doing this for you, Brian. You should know. And Brian immediately reaches in her purse, goes in the hidden pocket that he knows about because this is his mom, like kind of fumbles around there for a second, finds the 2 rings. She's like, Brian, take your filthy little paw out of my purse. And then Brian pulls out the 2 rings out of her purse, and she's like, turns around, she's like, this boy stole from me. And Brian's like, Mom, shut it. Like, the 2 security guards that you were yelling at were the ones that showed me the security tape where you stole these 2 rings that are in my hand from me. Like, can you just let me have a day with my fiance? Mom, this isn't your day. This is not your day. This is my day. Like, you have to understand that this is my day. And you need to let me have my day. And you need to stop trying to ruin this for all of us. You're invited to the ceremony, but you are one bad move from being kicked out. From last night to this shenanigans, you're on very, very, very thin ice. And I need you to know that. And, when he was saying that, Brian, like, kind of mistakenly put the 2 rings down on the table. I mean, he didn't think anything of it, but he was just put them down. And the thing is, his mom might have been a Karen, but she didn't have the typical Karen build of like 600,000 pounds and evil. She was actually like still pretty relatively fit. She'd go to like her little yoga thing every week or something. And so, Brian's mom was like, wait, what's that? What's going on over there? The oldest trick in the book, I'm telling you, the oldest trick in the book, and both Brian and the guy he was with will turn around. Brian's mom snatches both of the rings, gets up, and sprints out of there. Bolts out to the door. And Brian turns around, sees his mom running away, looks down at the table, sees that the rings are gone, and yells out, like, security guards, she's taking the rings. And, like, at this point, everyone who's just enjoying the buffet turns around. And Brian just immediately says, haha, nothing to see, and then sprints off running after his mom. The 2 security guards go running after them as well. So Brian's mom goes outside, takes a left, is running down the road. And Brian and the security guards, while Brian's mom isn't like, like immobile or anything, but she can still she's slower than Brian and the 2 security guards. So they're starting to gain on her, and Brian's like, Mom, why can't you let me have this day? And she's like, I'm doing this for you, sweetie. And she goes up and she finds a drain. And she literally is like holding the 2 rings above the drain. And Brian's like, Mom, no. And she's like, nobody take 1 step closer or these rings drop down. At this point, right, is Brian and one of the security guards. The other security guard, seeing what happened, turned around and ran around the block. So basically, they were now in a neighborhood that was like a couple minutes out. And, the security guard ran around the back. So, in neighborhoods, they're kind of like squares or whatever, and you can go down blocks. So what the security guard was doing was he was trying to go around the block to kind of blindside her and get her up from behind. And the Karen's like, Brian, you should have listened to me. Kate is no good for you. In fact, she's poison for you. And sure enough, right, the security guard is starting to walk up behind Brian's mom. Brian sees this and is like, oh, okay, I gotta keep her attention. So he's like, Mom, like, at least reason with me. Like, why is it so important that you ruin my wedding? And she's like, I had a gut feeling about Kate this entire time, and I went to my tarot card reader and my, psychic, and they both said that something disturbing was on my mind, which means that they agree with me that Kate is bad news. She has bad karma written all over her. And Brian's like, Mom, I just don't understand. Like, how did you come to that conclusion? Did you just feel it? And Brian's trying to, like, distract her and drag this out so the security guard, the second one, who is coming up from behind her, can, successfully grab the rings without them falling down the drain, because at this point, if he makes one move towards, like, his mom is going to drop these rings down the drain. And at this point, his mom is so, like, infatuated with the fact that her son is actually speaking to her, because, like, she has not been getting speaking privileges for a little bit for being insane, that she's like, oh, yes, let me plead my case to you. And as she's about to plead her case, she feels her hand be, like, grabbed by another hand. The security guard rips the 2 rings out of them, puts it in his pocket, and is like, ma'am, like, you're not allowed back. And she's like, what? Me? Why am I not allowed back? No, this is my own son's wedding. And Brian's like, Mom, I literally told you if you did one more thing, I gave you fair warning. I said if you did one more insane thing that you were going to be banned. And she's like, but it wasn't insane. It was for your good. He says, no, stop. I literally, no. I'm dragging the line here. You're not going to manipulate me anymore. After saying that, you took the rings and threatened to throw them down. Like, these are expensive, Mom. These aren't free. These are expensive, and this is just to prove a point that your stupid little tarot card reader said this, or that you had the vibes in the air. No, Mom, that's all nonsense. That's all BS. That's all in your head. You just don't like her. You can't get over the fact that you're wrong. His mom's just standing there. He's like, I'm going back. I have 15 minutes. I still need to get ready. I'm going back. He looks at the 2 officers, and he says, this woman's not allowed inside the premises. And she's like, no. Anyways, eventually, Brian goes back inside, gets his stuff all ready, and it's time for the wedding. So it's this typical ceremony. He walks down, stands at the very end, or at the very front, I should say. And that's when Kate is walked down by her father. Kate stands up there. They're looking at all the people in the pews. And Kate kind of, like, turns over and kind of whispers to him, like, where's your mom? And Brian's like, I had to go deal with her. And Kate's like, I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know what happened, which is a smart answer because she would probably go crazy, as any rational person would when they heard what was about to happen or what happened. Real quick, the Karen's not done. I just want to let you know. The Karen is coming back. But sure enough, they say their vows to each other, put the rings on the fingers, they have a big make-out session. They go to 10th base, how weddings normally go. And sure enough, everyone's clapping. It's great. They're walking out. Life is good. So the final thing is the kind of like the dinner that is after the wedding, the final part of the wedding. So anyways, it's time for the dinner. And remember, Brian's mom is still banned from the dinner because, she's still just banned from anything wedding related. Brian was honestly at this point so angry with her that he wasn't sure when he was going to speak to her again. However, his heart started to melt a little bit. He's like, you know what, maybe I'll talk to her after the wedding. And, I just don't want, my family members to not get along. Like, it's just so unfortunate that my mom and my wife now at this point, can't get along. So they're sitting at the dinner. And a lot of times at, the dinner after the wedding, people will make, a toast. So they'll go up there, they'll have their glass, they'll ding it, and then they'll basically just talk about, the bride, the groom, the wedding, how lovely the day is, the atmosphere in the air, stuff like that. And unfortunately, the security guards, there was only 2 of them, and they weren't necessarily guarding the entrances at all time. So guess who snuck back in? Yes, the Karen. The Karen snuck her little butt back in and found a way to kind of hide while the reception dinner was going on. And sure enough, people are going up there. They're saying, oh, I'm so excited to see you, or not so excited to see you, but I'm so this was such a beautiful day, you guys. Oh my God, my best friend Kate is getting married. All that kind of typical stuff. They're saying toast. They're saying, oh, it's so wonderful to see you guys up here and you're married and my heart is melting. And that's when they put down, the last person to make a toast steps down. And you know who steps up? Brian's mom. And she takes a glass and so normally what happens, right? Normally what happens is you take a fork or a utensil and you gently ding the glass. That's to get people's attention. Brian's mom takes an empty glass and chucks it on the ground and basically gets people's attentions by the sound of glass shattering. And she like is like, you, and points to Brian, and Kate is like, you two ruined my special day. Everyone's like, bro, what, your special day? Huh? What do you mean your special day? And she's like, I've been trying to warn you, Brian, that this Kate girl is the worst. I've been trying to say this for the longest time, but you refuse to listen to my logic. She's like, I tried to stop the wedding last night by protesting it, yet none of you fools, points to everyone in the audience, none of you fools decided to do what was right. I tried to steal the rings away to make sure that the wedding could not go through, but these moron security guards stopped me. At this point, Kate turns over to Brian. She's like, Brian, she stole the rings? He's like, yeah, I didn't want to tell you at the time. Seemed like I didn't want to ruin your day. I was going to tell you eventually. She's like, oh my God, your mom's crazy. And he's like, tell me. Yeah, tell me something I don't know, Kate. And sure enough, she goes and be like, and this is where I put my foot down. And she turns to like the the kind of like the person who made like the wedding official, because he like was able to stay and like eat dinner with them. She turns to the person, like the priest or whatever, and says, undo the wedding. By the power of God, I commence you to undo the wedding. And he's like, that's not how it works, ma'am. She's like, undo it. Divorce them. Divorce them now. Undo your spell of wedding. At this point, Brian's like, oh my God, I have to go up there. So Brian walks up and is like, Mom, I asked you to leave. And she's like, Brian, you don't know what's good for you, but as your mother, I know what's good for you. Always. I always know what's good for you. Yeah. Brian, no. Stop the wedding. Stop the wedding. Cancel it. I'm going to get my Facebook group to come after your Facebook, Kate. They're coming for you. And that's when Brian's like, security guards come over. And as they're kind of pushing, Brian's mom out of the building, she's like, Brian, you won't get away with this. And turns to Kate and be like, this is not the last of me. I will get you two to divorce if it's the last thing I do. As she's being dragged out the door, boom, door slams. Once again, there's just a silence. And, Brian goes up there and kind of is like, hey guys, just want to say thank you all so much for coming to my wedding. I love each and every single one of you, even if some of you are kind of in the doghouse right now, insinuating his mother. And he's like, I just want to say apologies for any distractions that might have happened last night or recently. By recently, I mean a couple seconds ago. I just want to let you know that, don't let that destroy the mood or the atmosphere. Some people just don't get it, and that's okay. I would like you all, to have a great rest of your night. Remember, dancing will be in an hour. I want to see all of you guys on the dance floor, and just thank you guys so much for coming. And everyone claps him out, and he walks back to the table, and he sits down next to Kate. And Kate's like, this was a pretty great wedding. And, even with all the stuff that happened, Brian looks at her, and this kind of looks like directly into the eyes of his wife, the person that he is planning to spend the rest of his life with. It's just like, this is the greatest wedding.
Click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it. Do it. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a great day. Today we have a story of a crazy Karen who thinks that laws do not apply to her, that she's literally a god, that she can do whatever she wants, and thankfully, right, karma comes and gets the Karen, and you just love to see it. I know you'll enjoy this story, so sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's call the subscriber who submitted this story Aaron. Real quick, I want to let you know, if you want to submit the stories for this week alone, you can only submit them to my Twitter account. It's on screen right now, and after this week, you can submit them to either my Twitter or Instagram. I'm just trying to get to 1,000 followers as fast as I can, so go follow my Twitter, and anyways, let's get right into the story. So Aaron works at an amusement park over the summer. It's close to Six Flags. It's not exactly Six Flags, though. It's like a smaller amusement park, and it's like family run or something. So it's not a big chain name, but if you have to think of it, think of Six Flags if you've been to that before. So there's a bunch of rides, there's like food, there's like attractions, there's a bunch of random stuff, and Aaron happens to be working at one of the ride booths, right? So Aaron doesn't even work in tickets. Aaron doesn't even work in like anything really money related. This will be important later on. So Aaron is like managing like one of the rides, and it's right next to another ride which happens to be closed for maintenance, repairs, stuff like that. This happens sometimes that like some of the rides will be down just because they need maintenance, and unfortunately
there's not much you can do. However, the Karen went there with her son and her like husband or whatever. And, Aaron watched and just happened to see a family walk over and just kind of noticed that, the ride was closed and they looked disappointed. And Aaron felt bad about that because, you don't want a little kid disappointed. You want a little kid happy. However, right, the little kid and the dad went away somewhere else. And that's when the Karen started approaching Aaron. She had like the Karen haircut, aviator sunglasses, the blouse on, the big like obnoxious flip-flops going flop, 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 flop. And she walks over with her hands on her hips. And Aaron didn't know that this was a Karen exactly. However, the truth is she pretty much did know that this was a Karen just by the way that the Karen kind of held herself, just by the way that the Karen was approaching her. Just kind of like, sometimes you can just tell by like the vibe of someone exactly like who they're going to be. And Aaron knew right away that this indeed was going to be a Karen. So Aaron was like, hey ma'am, like, how can I help you? Like, what's wrong? And the Karen is like, our favorite ride. We come to this amusement park every summer and we come for one ride alone. And she points at that ride. And Aaron is like, ma'am, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I really am. Because, like, Aaron did genuinely feel bad. She saw a little kid get turned away and she felt bad about that. So she's like, yeah, I am genuinely sorry about that. That sucks, ma'am. Like, there's a lot of other rides here, right? There's a lot of other rides. I can get you like a priority pass. I can give it out to a few people every single day. Similar to Disneyland, how there's like employees can give like 1 or 2 priority passes to people randomly if they think it's a good idea. And so Aaron's like, yeah, if you want a priority pass in a line or something, I can do that for you since I really do feel bad. Normally, like I would have thought that the Karen would have been thankful for this because Aaron, instead of just saying, sucks to be you, bro, and say like, go to a different ride or something, Aaron is, or the employee, Aaron, is, offering to give her a little bit of a pass, but the Karen was not hearing it. She was like, I want you're an employee here. I want you to man this ride, open it up, and let us go on. And dude, like the ride was legitimately under construction. Like it wouldn't function even if Aaron wanted to. So Aaron tried to explain to the Karen, hey ma'am, I'm sorry to break it to you, but like even if I wanted to, I physically could not do it. Like it is shut down. The ride is under construction. I don't know how else to explain it, but I just literally can't right now. Like I can't help you out. Trust me, I wish I could. I feel bad. Like I don't know what else to say. And the Karen is like, no. I don't think you understand. Aaron's like, I don't understand what? And she's like, so this is my vacation with my hubby, my husband, and my little boy, my son. We are going to get exactly what we want, and we're going to get it now. And Aaron was starting to like be a little less favorable to, the Karen, starting to realize that Karen's actually not as good of a person as she first thought. She was really holding out, trying to give like the Karen a boost on another ride, maybe a coupon or something, just to make the kid feel better. She doesn't really care if like, a grown woman isn't able to be on the fun roller coaster ride she wanted to, but she felt bad for the kid. But at this point, it was getting annoying. And Aaron's like, ma'am, I don't know how you don't understand what I'm trying to say, but I'll say it again and maybe more clearly. No one at this amusement park, including myself, can turn on that ride that you want to go to. It is under construction. It is physically impossible for me not to do this. And the Karen goes up to Aaron and says, I know you're just being lazy. I know that if you really wanted to, if you really dug deep down, that you could get that ride going for me and my little boy, but you're just too lazy and selfish. And the Karen storms off. And Aaron at this point is like, wow, like that woman was rude. She wasn't just rude, but she was dense, bro. She was thick in the skull because it's very clear that the thing's under construction. I mean, it was like, there's like a crane. It was torn to pieces. It wasn't like flattened, right? It still had the structure of the old ride. But come on now, like that's pretty goofy. You can't lie to me on that. You just simply can't lie to me on that. So Aaron was pretty convinced that, that would be the end of like her saga with the Karen and that the Karen would not arrive again. But she was a little worried. The thing is also, Aaron would change shifts. She would be like, okay, from 8 a.m. to 12, you're working this ride. From, 12:15 to 2, you're working the food stand or whatever. She would have like different shifts that her manager would tell her what to do. So at 11, Erin was instructed to go work at the burger place. They had kind of like a burger fast food place at this amusement park, or call it a roller coaster ride, whatever, right? And so she went behind. So she was the cash register here. She wasn't making the food. She was behind the cash register. And about an hour into her shift, she sees the same family walking in. So it's the Karen, the husband, and the kid. So the three of them walk up. And, Erin and the Karen lock eyes. They make eye contact. And the Karen literally she squints. She squints like maliciously. Like she is angry, she's upset, and she wants you to know. But yeah, so sure enough, right, Erin's like, oh God, like here's the woman again. She's definitely going to do some nonsense, right? Like 100%, bro. Like, okay. So Erin puts on a smile, as you have to do when you work these things. She's like, hello, ma'am. Welcome to, I don't know, Burger and Stuff. Wasn't the actual name, but welcome to Burger and Stuff. What can I get you guys? And, the husband actually, stands up and says, hey, how's it going? I'd like 3 burgers. Can you have one of them without lettuce, pickle, or tomato? That's probably the one for the kid. And also 3 sides of fries and 3 shakes, 2 chocolate, 1 vanilla. Erin is like, okay, I got you with that. So she puts in the order, and the other 2 leave. So the father and the son go to get a table, as the Karen instructs them to do so. And the Karen walks up, and she's like, so. And Erin is just bracing herself. She's like, oh, God, like, what is the Karen going to do now? Like, the Karen's definitely going to do something stupid. Like, definitely she's going to do something annoying. But what exactly is the annoying and stupid thing she's going to do? Like, I really don't know. And sure enough, the Karen's like, so. You know how earlier you denied giving us that access to the ride we really wanted? Erin's like, just to set the record straight, I didn't deny you access. I denied everyone access because I can't do anything about it. The ride is closed. The Karen's like, okay, whatever the little details that you want to make up are. What's important is that I'm giving you an opportunity. Since I'm so generous, I'm giving you an opportunity to basically right your wrong. Because currently there's a wrong in the universe, and it's coming from you. And I'm a believer in karma, and it's going to bite you in the butt twice as hard if you don't fix it right now. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to fix the wrong that you put out into the universe. And Erin's like, okay. And she's like, so. If you want to maybe, I don't know, give us this meal for free, I will forget all about your evil doings. And, Erin's like, ma'am, already placed in the order, right? The system knows that you guys ordered that. The system is not going to let me, it's going to ask for a card. And if I don't get, it knows that, the order went out. If I didn't, get a payment for it, that's on me. I'm not allowed to do that. Look, I still feel bad that your son isn't able to do what he wants. I don't really care about you, if I'm being honest. And the Karen was like, oh my God. Oh my, and she's like, ma'am, but I do feel bad for your son. Maybe I can get him extra whipped cream, maybe in a cherry that we don't normally put unless you have the special sundae. I'll put that on his milkshake. Look, but I can't give you the meal for free. And the Karen takes her fist and goes, bump, 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 starts slamming it on the desk. And Erin's like, ma'am, please, calm down. And she's like, you calm down. I gave you a fantastic opportunity to right the clear wrong that you have. You won't even, oh my God, I might faint. I feel, oh my God. And that's when the husband rushes over and he's like, honey, is everything okay? And the Karen's like, this evil woman, she's a witch. She's evil. And the husband is like, shame on you, ma'am. Shame on you. And Erin's like, dude, what did I do? And he's like, I actually don't know. Because he just rushed over. So Erin explains, look, I'm sorry you guys weren't able to go on the ride that you wanted. If I could do anything about it, I would. I feel bad for your son. Your wife demanded I do something, and I didn't do anything. She came over here and said that, you know, she wanted the meal for free because she wasn't able to go on the ride she wanted. And I told her that I just can't do anything about that. And that, I'll be fired if I do that. The husband's like, oh, okay. The husband was a bit more reasonable, a little bit. He's like, you know what, honey, let's just go back to our table. And he kind of looks at Aaron and he's kind of like, sorry. Because he knows, like, okay, my wife's a little crazy sometimes, bro. But life happens, bro. That happens. So sure enough, Aaron is like, okay, this has to be the end of the Karen saga, right? Real quick, comment Karen if you made it this far into the video, if you're watching this on YouTube. I'm going to try and heart as many comments as possible. And also, please let me know what you're doing while watching these videos, because the best way to support these videos is just by sitting down and watching a bunch of them. But let me know if you're, watching these to help you go to sleep, if you're playing a video game in the background, or drawing something, or writing something up, or anything like that. I am genuinely curious to know what you're doing while watching or listening to these videos. Real quick, just so you know, these videos are all on Spotify, at least as of like a week ago. Since then, all the videos will be on Spotify for your listening convenience. And also, in most cases, they go up a couple hours earlier on Spotify. So make sure to follow on Spotify. It's the first link in the description. And please rate 5 stars if you do enjoy what you're listening to. It really does help out the channel. And also, you can submit stories to my Twitter or Instagram. They are both Connor Pugs. They're both in the description. But just for this week alone, since I'm trying to really focus on Twitter for a second, I'm only accepting requests on my Twitter account. After that, it'll be Twitter and Instagram. Anyways, let's just get back into it. Use code ConnorPugs for 10% off anything at Gamer Subs. Helps you out, helps me out, and you get a really good product. Let's just jump right back into it. So Aaron is convinced, okay, this is it for like the Karen, this is it for Karen moments, right? I'm totally fine. She's going to leave today. And while my experience with the Karen hasn't been great so far, it's not going to be, it can't be much worse. It simply cannot be much worse, right? That's impossible. But anyways, right, Aaron was unfortunately very wrong in this assessment because the Karen was not done Karening. So anyways, right, Aaron is once again put back outside. And I don't know if she's manning a ride, but for some reason, she happens to be outside overseeing something. And, more or less what happens, right, is she's standing outside and she sees the family. And the husband and son go away, maybe go to the bathroom or something. And the Karen is just waiting around. And there's another Karen. That's the thing. There's a second Karen. Guys, this is not good. 2 Karens in one room, the whole universe has a chance of ripping in half. This is really bad. So anyways, the 2 Karens are looking at each other. And one goes, humph. And the other one's like, did you just humph at me? I can humph at you. And she's like, hello, ma'am. What do you think that you're doing talking back to me? And the Karen, the original, I'm going to say Karen 1, Karen 2. Karen 1 is OG Karen, the one that Aaron's been dealing with. Karen 2 is the new one. So Karen 1's like, oh, good heavens, are you accusing me of something? And Karen 2's like, yeah, I'm accusing you of something. I'm accusing you of being a big butt jerk. And Karen 1's like, oh my, you're disrespecting my honor. You're disrespecting my family. And she goes, puh. Spits on Karen 1, spits on Karen 2. Karen 2 is like, oh my God, look, this woman is hurting me. She spat on me. And Karen 1's like, that's what you get. And that's when Karen 2's like, puh, spits back again. And that's when Karen 1, she's done with it. And Karen 1 goes a little bit too crazy. She grabs... This is kind of nuts, right? And a lot of people are watching this right now. She grabs a folding chair. Okay, I don't know how to say this with a straight face. She grabs a folding chair and smacks Karen 2 over the head with it, and Karen 2 falls over, collapsed. And then at this point, Aaron's like, oh my God, is this WWE, bro? What? So Karen 1 is like, yeah, that's what you get. Because you can already tell that Karen 1, is kind of regretting the fact that she escalated it to the point that she knocked out Karen 2 with a folding chair. Bro, that's assault, dude. You're going to jail briefly. I hate to say it. Actually, I don't hate to say it. I relish in the fact that I can say it. But sure enough, right, people around them start surrounding them. And Karen 1's like, it was self-defense. Aaron pulls out her phone, calls 911, just very quietly in the corner. He's like, hey, I have 2 women fighting. One of them, hit the other with a chair and knocked them out. I need you to come. So sure enough, within 5 minutes, the police officers do arrive. And the Karen is like, this was self-defense. This was self-defense. And, they have medics come over. Karen 2 is okay. She's not like dead or anything. It's fine, right? But sure enough, right, Karen 1's like, no, I was doing this in self-defense. I can do anything in self-defense. And so police officers come over and they're like, all right, ma'am, we got to hear what's happening over here. And then Karen 1 was like, so I was minding my own business, and this other Karen took out a massive baton and started beating me with it. Bop, 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 bop. So I got a folding chair, and in my one last effort at self-defense, I threw it at her, hoping and praying that she would stop beating me with the baton. And it happened to hit her just perfectly that she knocked out, and I was saved. I could have lost my life there. And, Aaron is like, I hate this woman. I'm stepping up and setting the record straight, right? She steps up, and Aaron's like, officers, that's not what happened. And the Karen's like, she's been out for me since day one. Don't listen to her. And Aaron says, like, hey, can I have anyone who is watching this debacle come over and back me up? And, 10 people walk near Aaron. And Aaron turns around and says, hey, if I say anything that didn't happen, call me out. But otherwise, agree with what I'm saying if I'm telling the truth. Aaron goes on to say, so, this woman and this other woman, a.k.a. Karen 2, got in a bit of not a fighting match, but they got into a match of words. And that's when Karen 2 spat on Karen 1, and Karen 1 took a folding chair and beat Karen 2 over the head with it and knocked her out. Like, a total escalation, unnecessary, and assault. And Karen 1 is like, I can do anything. I can do anything I want. As a Karen, and she literally referred to herself as a Karen. She said, I can do literally anything I want. Okay, officers, arrest me. Do it. I dare you. The officers look at each other and they're like, okay. She's like, no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. No, you can't arrest me. The laws don't apply to me. And Aaron's like, what does that mean, ma'am? She's like, the laws don't apply to me, obviously. You guys know that, points the officers, and they're like, the laws apply to everyone, ma'am. And she's like, yeah, everyone but me, right? And they're like, ma'am, I'm sorry, no, that's just not how it's going. She's like, no. I am so, I'm positive. No, I'm, guys, this joke was hilarious. 10 out of 10 on the joke. You guys are jokesters. This is so funny. And they're like, ma'am, this is not funny. Like, we're dead serious. We're gonna have to take you in at least. Like, you at least at a minimum can't be here anymore. And she said, my family paid good money to be here. We just want to have a good time. And they're like, well, you can't beat someone over the head with a folding chair to knock them out. You just can't do that, ma'am. She's like, but I can do anything I want. What? And the officers are like, all right, this, yeah, okay. And they're like, all right, we're gonna call for some backup. So the officers are like, all right, man, we're gonna have to ask you to, come with us just in case when this woman comes back up, she wants to file charges. She definitely has the right to. We're gonna need your, your ID/license. We just gotta file this down. And most importantly, we gotta take you out of here just so you don't harm any other guests or do anything like that. And she says, what? No, you don't understand. No, I can break any laws that I want. What? No. And the police officer's like, all right. So they start to very slowly kind of push her out of there. And she says, oh, no, you guys are harming me. You're hurting me. No, somebody help. And she's pulled out. So 2 minutes later, there's still one officer there talking to people, figuring out what's going on, talking to Aaron. And that's when the husband and son come over. And this is kind of a tough moment because the son doesn't want to hear this, but Aaron's like, hey, that's the father. Please talk to him. I'll entertain the son or something. So Aaron goes over and entertains the son, and the police officer talks to the husband, and he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'll do whatever you need, officers. I love my wife, but she can be very emotional sometimes. She has a lot of character, a lot of personality, which Aaron was like, okay, I don't think I describe a lot of personality as beating someone over the head with a chair, but I guess agree to disagree here, bro. So anyways, right, they eventually all leave, and the day is done for Aaron. And Aaron's still a teenager, so she goes back home because she works this over the summer, and her mom's like, hey, how was your day at work? Aaron normally says good, and then just goes back to doing what she's doing, but she's like, good. Wait, no, wait, Mom. I actually have a story for you today. How's it going, everyone? Today we got a story time of a Minecraft kid who steals the subscriber's phone and then just declares that he is not the one who did it. Very, very stubbornly saying that he's not the one. It gets to the point where, like, their parents have to get involved, and it's a whole ordeal. I know you will enjoy today's story, so sit back, relax, subscribe if you're new to the channel, leave a like on the video to claim your very own free nothing. Fantastic deal, by the way. And with that all being said, let's just jump right into it. So anyways, how did this story all start? Well, basically, the subscriber, he got in detention. It was for something kind of small and dumb. I mean, he got in detention either way. He told me that he was in class and the teacher was like, pay attention, stop talking to your friend. And the thing was, the subscriber was actually midway through a very, very interesting story. The thing is, though, like, the subscriber was only midway through the story when the teacher called him out. So after a couple minutes, the subscriber went back to telling his friend the story because it was really interesting. And then the teacher, called him out again and said, look, if you two aren't going to like shut up, and listen and pay attention and be not distracting to everyone else, well, you're going to get detention. The thing is, though, the subscriber was caught right before the really good part of the story. So the subscriber kind of looks at his friend, and the friend looks back at him, and they kind of make like eye contact and kind of make like non-verbal agreement that they're going to finish this story no matter what the teacher says. So yeah, sure enough, the subscriber does finish the story, but at the very end, I think his friend laughs or something because it's pretty funny. The teacher sees this, and yeah, they get detention. So the thing is, though, the subscriber's friend said hey, I have a doctor's appointment to the teacher, so I can't make it, meaning that he has to go to detention the next day, and the subscriber goes to detention that day. So the subscriber's walking into detention basically alone. When the subscriber walks in, he sees there's one other kid in the room. And this kid is the Minecraft kid. So yeah, anyways, right, how did the Minecraft kid get there? So basically what happened, the Minecraft kid, he was caught playing Minecraft in class. The school is a very, very strict, using your technology, what's it called? Your iPads for non-school related stuff policy. And well, the Minecraft kid was caught playing Minecraft, and believe it or not, nope, he was caught playing Minecraft. Yeah, I think the Minecraft kid was just on his iPad tapping away, and it was pretty obvious that he was not tapping away playing notes. There's just a way that you go about it. That it's just very obvious that you're not chill, taking notes, maybe taking a photo of, the whiteboard. No, you were definitely doing something on there. And I think the Minecraft kid was so incredibly focused on the game that he was playing, or Minecraft, the game, Minecraft, he's the Minecraft kid, that he didn't even notice the teacher looking at him funny and then probably calling his name and then walking up to him and then seeing he was playing Minecraft and then taking away his iPad, right? And then giving him detention. Because the school was actually pretty strict with it. I low-key kind of find that that's an overreaction. Okay, kid's not paying attention in class, well, take away his iPad. You don't have to also send him to detention as well. But I don't know, man. I also kind of see where they're coming from. So, hey, what are you going to do? Anyways, though, so because of that, the Minecraft kid was also in detention. So it was just the subscriber and the Minecraft kid for the next hour in this room. Anyways, though, about 5 minutes in, the teacher, comes up to the door, knocks on it, and the person who is managing the detention goes up and sees who's there. So whoever is at the door was a teacher. It was actually the subscriber's teacher for another class, and the subscriber was was talking to the teacher later on in the day because he needed help with something, and the teacher was like, okay, well, when are you free? And the subscriber was like, hey, I actually just got detention for talking in class. Do you happen to be around? And the teacher's like, actually, yeah, because that teacher would sometimes stick around just in school, just doing work because, I don't know, it was it was pretty quiet when most of the kids were gone. And he kind of felt like, okay, well, this is actually a pretty solid work block or a pretty solid place to do work, more or less undistracted and also in an environment where I'm not going to be thinking about a billion other things. So anyways, right, sure enough, the teacher comes to the door and the subscriber's like, oh, okay. So the subscriber gets the okay from the person running detention that it is okay for him to go out. What the subscriber does is instead of he was just on his phone, I don't know if you were allowed to do that in detention or not. He might have been doing it sneakily. But either way, the subscriber puts the phone down on the desk. Little did the subscriber know that this one action, this one move was going to like butterfly effect into the rest of the story. It's just kind of interesting that you can like look back at history, either your own personal or someone else's, and just see how such a slight, just very run-of-the-mill action that seems to have no consequence, especially in the short term, just kind of like metastasizes into something ridiculous, such as the following story. So anyways, the subscriber leaves his phone on the desk, grabs his book bag, and then proceeds to walk out the front door to go talk to the teacher. The teacher and him sit down in a room next door. They go over, I don't know, some kind of like the work that needed to be done for the other class, what the subscriber wasn't understanding, answered a few questions, and boom, they were done. It was like 10 minutes long, so, not too long. The subscriber walks back in and looks at his desk. The phone was very clearly on the desk beforehand, and now the phone is gone. So the subscriber immediately assumes that, the person on duty must have just like picked up the phone because like, oh, you're not supposed to have your phone out, whatever, right? You're still allowed to have your phone on you. You're just not supposed to be on it. So he goes up to the person on duty. He's like, hey, like, I left my phone on my desk when we left. Did you happen to pick it up? And the person on duty is like, no, actually, I haven't left my seat. And the subscriber just kind of is sitting there for a second thinking like, So at this point, right, the subscriber kind of looks around the room and he thinks for a second, did I actually leave my phone? And then he's like, yes, I did actually leave my phone. So he looks around the room and there's only one other person in here, the Minecraft kid. And the Minecraft kid just looks so suspicious right now. He just kind of has like a kind of a weird, suspicious looking look on his face. And he makes eye contact with the subscriber. And the subscriber and the Minecraft kid, they just kind of like sit there for a second, making eye contact. And the subscriber in his head is like, okay, this kid is looking at me so weird. And they make eye contact, and the Minecraft kid quickly darts his eyes away and looks even more suspicious. So the subscriber's like, okay. He walks over to the Minecraft kid and is like, hey, man, like, I was looking for something. Could you help me out? And the Minecraft kid is like, oh, I didn't take your phone. Which, okay. The subscriber didn't say anything about a phone. He said, hey, I'm missing something. Could you help me out? The subscriber, even very intentionally, was pretty vague with what he said, with what he asked, because he kind of wanted to see if he could catch the Minecraft kid in a lie, or not in a lie, but kind of like get information out of the Minecraft kid that he would not have otherwise known. And the thing is, too, the Minecraft kid was sitting far enough away, and since it was like detention, it was like, I don't know, it was like like it was supposed to be like almost like a library quiet whatever because people are supposed to do work. So the subscriber, when he went up to the front desk person and said, hey, do you have my phone? He said it really quietly. So it was really unlikely that the Minecraft kid was able to hear this. So now the subscriber knows that the Minecraft kid is super suspicious. Yeah, so at this point, the subscriber looks at the Minecraft kid and they kind of just make eye contact for a second, just in silence. And the subscriber says, I didn't say anything about my phone being my phone being gone, be the thing I'm looking for. And the Minecraft kid, you could just tell in his face that, like, he just, like, he got real scared. Bro just probably did number 2 in his pants after he heard that. And the Minecraft kid stammers for a second. He's like, I just guessed. Which, like, really? That was your guess? You guessed out of everything that this person left or lost was their phone? I mean, it's not impossible. I mean, that's a pretty common thing people have, and that might be the thing that they lost, right? That's definitely not out of the picture. However, though, why not his computer? Why not his book bag? Why not insert a really long list of other things? It just seems a little suspicious, especially since the subscriber, well, his phone is gone now, and he definitely didn't just lose it. His phone is gone. He went up to the teacher who, probably didn't lift his phone. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I think the teacher has enough common sense. And the only other kid is the Minecraft kid who just said something extremely suspicious. So at this point, the subscriber was like 95% certain the Minecraft kid took his phone. So the subscriber says this, look, I don't know why you might have taken my phone, but if you give it back to me now, I'm not going to say anything. Like, you won't get in trouble. I won't say anything to anyone. If you just give it back to me right now with no fuss, no nothing, it's not going to be a big deal. I won't ask any questions. And the subscriber looks at the Minecraft kid. You can almost tell on his face that he was considering it for a second. Which, like, low-key, I can understand, like, why some people would accept this, because I think probably in the moment the Minecraft kid just stole the... I don't even know why the Minecraft kid stole the phone, because probably, you know, an iPhone is probably one of the worst things you can steal. Not that it isn't valuable. It's probably very valuable. Probably goes for, like, you could get $800, $600, $1,000, right? However, it is so easy just to go to an Apple store and be like, hey, I lost my phone. One, figure out exactly where it is, and then two, or brick the phone, right? Make it literally useless. And they can do that with one tap of a button. So I think the Minecraft kid, for a second, considered confessing, or just, not even just confessing, giving him the phone back, because he's like, you know, what's even the point of me? I mean, I can't explain what goes on in the Minecraft kid's head, but what's even the point of me stealing this phone? Like, it's kind of stupid, whatever. And if I give it back now, if he's not lying, then I will actually be scot-free. And even though I did something stupid, I won't have to, like, pay any consequences for it. Which, I mean, on the other side, the subscriber could have very easily have been lying and been like, all right, thanks for my phone. Now I'm going to tell on you. And since the person's probably watching me over here and saw that you reached into your bag and grabbed your phone, well, now I'm going to tell on you as well. And you're probably going to get detention for the rest of the week and not just today. However, I still feel like if you've done something stupid like this, just giving it back now, you're probably is going to be a good idea. However, though, the Minecraft kid decided, after kind of looking like he was going to do it for a second, you could almost tell that there was like a change in his face. And he very confidently is like, no, like, I can't give you back your phone because I never took your phone. Yeah, so at this point, right, the subscriber is like, no, this is not how this is going. So the subscriber is like, look, I know you took my phone. You said something about my phone that you, like, I came up to you and I said, I'm looking for something. And you said, oh, I didn't take your phone. Why did you even think it was my phone? And then, like, it's just like, it's not the teacher. I know I put the phone there. I've checked everything. I've checked my bag. I've checked my pockets. I went back in the room. It's not there. And the Minecraft kid is looking real guilty again. And the subscriber's like, I'm going to give you one more invitation to just give me my phone back, and no one will care. What are you even going to do with the phone? Look, it's totally pointless. The second I go back home, I'm going to brick that thing. It's going to be no point. And I'm also going to ping the location so we'll know either way. And after saying that, the Minecraft kid looked real guilty again. So he's like, okay, just give me the phone. I won't tell anyone. I just want to go back to doing what I'm doing. I promise. And the Minecraft kid, once again, looks as if he's on the verge of giving it back. He looks like he's like kind of like he's thinking about it a little bit. And then the Minecraft kid's face changes again. He's like, dude, like, I didn't take your phone. I don't know what to say. And the subscriber at this point, a little part of him's like, what if you didn't actually take your phone? But then the rest of him's like, nah, this kid definitely took my phone. Like, there's just no, like, it's a little bit aggressive to go out just accusing random people of stuff. But at the same time, bro, it's so obvious that the Minecraft kid took his phone. It is so obvious. Yeah, so anyways, right, the subscriber's like, all right, well, I'm going to get, like, if you don't give it to me right now, I'm going to go up to the person, like the person monitoring this whole thing, and we're going to figure this out. And the Minecraft kid held his ground. So the subscriber walks up to, like, the chaperone and whatever, and it's like, look, I left my phone here. I'm 100% certain I left my phone here. I had it on my desk, and then when I came back, my phone was gone. You obviously didn't take it, and there's only one other kid here. I went up to the Minecraft kid and asked him, oh, can you help me go find something? And he immediately said, I didn't take your phone. That sounds pretty guilty to me. Can you please come over and help me get my phone back? And the chaperone's like, all right. Puts his phone, puts his book down, walks over with the subscriber to the Minecraft kid. And the Minecraft kid immediately says, I didn't take his phone. And the chaperone, who didn't really see anything, is like, oh, okay, well, if you did, can you please give it back? And the subscriber's like, this is like, yeah, like, dude, I don't care. Just please give me my phone. And Minecraft kid's like, I didn't take the phone. And the subscriber's like, turns to the chaperone and is like, dude, look, he very clearly took the phone. And the chaperone's like, I can't, if you don't have any more definitive proof, I really can't do anything about it. And the subscriber's like, wait, what? And the chaperone's like, yeah. And the subscriber's like, hey, can you search his bag? And the chaperone's like, I don't think I can just search his bag without like more evidence. Like, I think that's against some rule or something. And the subscriber's like, you're a teacher here. You search, like, teachers search our bags all the time. The chaperone's like, yeah, I'm just not trying to get in trouble, man. Which, I mean, I kind of get, like, the chaperone's just trying to keep their job, trying to have a low stakes, like, checking out, just hosting detentions, pretty low stakes most of the time. So the subscriber's like, oh my God. Anyways, though, so at this point, the Minecraft kid almost has like a smug look on his face. Like, the Minecraft kid genuinely is like almost excited that he got away with it in a sense. And the subscriber goes up to the Minecraft kid and says, dude, I know you took it. And the Minecraft kid's like, prove it then. Which, just saying prove it then almost makes it feel like, bro, almost feels like you're actually just taunting and you know that you have the upper hand. And the subscriber's like, dude, like, what do you even want with my phone? And the Minecraft kid's like, that's none of your business. And the subscriber's like, so you did take my phone? And the Minecraft kid's like, prove it. And at this point, the subscriber's getting so angry. He also has never done anything against the Minecraft kid. This is not going to turn to one of those stories where it's like 6 years ago, the subscriber accidentally stole the Minecraft kid's crush from him. And like, this is his long-awaited revenge. The subscriber and the Minecraft kid, no, they have never interacted before. I think the subscriber has like kind of known about the Minecraft kid for being a little weird, but like they've never interacted before. This is not some big old revenge story or something. None of that. So at this point, right, the subscriber walks back up to the chaperone and says, I just said like, I just went up to him and I was talking with him and I said, what do you want with my phone? And he said, none of your business. Like, that implies that he has it. Like, you need to be able to, like, is that not evidence enough? And the chaperone's like, look, like, I definitely see what you're saying. I just don't know what I don't know what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do. You're probably right, but also I don't want to get in trouble for searching some kid's bag if I'm just like genuinely not allowed to search his bag. And the subscriber's like, okay, I guess. But the subscriber's like, can you look into that? And if you can, you got to search his bag. And the chaperone's like, okay. When the chaperone says okay, I think the subscriber kind of subconsciously realized that no, like they were not going to do anything about it. They're not going to do anything about it, man. I don't know how else to say it. Anyways, though, so yeah, the subscriber goes back to the Minecraft kid. And it's about 5 minutes until detention is over. And when detention is over, the parents have to come and like pick them up. It's like a whole process, right? Parents hate it when kids get detention at this school. Well, I mean, I think parents hate it when kids get detention ever because it's detention. But specifically at this school, like the parents had to come and like sign the kids out or something and kind of just get like a little talking to. So the subscriber knew that the Minecraft kid's parents as well as his parents would be here. So anyways, 5 minutes later, the subscriber's parents are late. They texted him that, but he wouldn't know because he doesn't have his phone on him. But the Minecraft kid's parents come. So anyways, right, at this point, the subscriber like sees the Minecraft kid's parents and says, hey, can I talk to you guys for a second? And so the Minecraft kid's dad's like, sure. He's like, hey, I don't totally know why, but I'm pretty sure your son has my phone. I think it's in his bag. I was wondering if you could check, just maybe he picked it up by accident. Like the subscriber's trying to be as like generous as possible, even though he knows it was not an accident. So this moment, the Minecraft kid must have overheard specifically what the subscriber had said to his dad. And he goes over and he's like, Dad, this kid is like saying that I'm a thief. He's claiming that I'm stealing from him. Like, Dad, I wouldn't steal from anyone. You know that, right? You know that. And at this point, like, the dad's like, of course, sweetie. Like, of course you wouldn't steal from anyone. You're not a thief at all. The subscriber's like, whoa. I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm just saying that, like, maybe he picked it up by accident. And at this point, right, the Minecraft kid's dad is like, normally I would have given you benefit of the doubt and maybe I would have checked through his bag to see if he picked it up by accident. But it sounds to me like you're accusing my son of stealing and like my son has integrity. He would never do that. And I'm not going to allow false allegations to float around. And the subscriber's just like, wait. Can you just check? Like, please, real quick, made it this far into the video, comment Minecraft down below. And also, if you tend to listen or you use Spotify, make sure to follow me on Spotify as well and listen to the story times on there. Link in the pinned comment and the description. Anyways, though, so sure enough, right, the Minecraft kid is just like, yeah, like Dad, he's accusing me of being a thief. Am I a thief, Dad? And the dad's like, no, son, you are not a thief, and we will not allow false allegations to spread so ridiculously like they are right now. At this point, the subscriber's just like clutching his head. He's like, dude, I just want my frickin' phone back, man. Yeah, so the subscriber is like realizing that I think that the dad might be is taking this Minecraft kid's side. He's like, can you at least just look? Like, I think he might have picked it up by accident. I'm not saying anything of anyone. And the Minecraft kid's dad is like, I normally would have, but, you're accusing my son, and I'm not going to go through such a false search warrant for nothing. And at this point, the Minecraft kid is just like beginning to tear up, but it's fake tearing up. It's like, oh, Dad, thank you. I was accused. I'm glad you chose my side. Yeah, so anyways, the Minecraft kid's dad is like, all right, son, let's get out of here. I'm sorry you had to deal with this. And so the Minecraft kid is getting up. However, the Minecraft kid did not zip up his backpack all the way. So when the Minecraft kid pulls up his backpack, something slips out of it that was just recently put in there. If you guessed the subscriber's phone, then you're right. The Minecraft kid pulls up his backpack, and since it's unzipped, the subscriber's phone falls out of it onto the floor. It doesn't crack, doesn't do any damage, but it makes a loud sound, and all three of them look at it. And the subscriber points at it and says, look, that's my phone. And the Minecraft kid just goes white. And the Minecraft kid turns to his dad. It's like, Dad, I didn't do it. It must have been a mistake. And this Minecraft kid's dad of course you didn't do it, son. And the subscriber's just like, what? Huh? What do you mean? What? Because just a second ago, the Minecraft kid's dad was just like, it was such a false and baseless allegation. I'm not going to check his bag, when it was literally in his bag. And then seconds later, it's proven that it was in his bag the whole time. And bro, how does it just accidentally fall in there? The subscriber was saying, oh, can you check his bag just in case it accidentally fell in there? The subscriber didn't actually believe it could accidentally, quote unquote, fall in there. But the subscriber also knew that he was just trying to convince this stubborn dad to realize his son is not the angel he probably thinks he is. So the dad is turns to the subscriber and is like, you're lucky that we're letting you keep your phone after you planted that in my son's bag to frame him. And the subscriber's like, what? And the subscriber tries to reason / argue with the dad and say okay, why on earth would I try and plant my phone in your son's bag? I don't know your son. I would gain nothing from you guys thinking that he's a thief. Genuinely, what would I gain from you thinking that he's a thief? What would I gain from that? I didn't even know if I was going to get my phone back. What do I, basically the subscriber is saying, why would I do this? There's no motivation / incentives for me to do this. And the Minecraft kid's dad is like, I don't know why you'd want to do it. Probably you're just sick and twisted and want to mess with my son because he's a good kid and overall is known as a good kid. And the subscriber is just sitting there in utter and sheer disbelief, just thinking to himself, what on earth am I listening to right now? Genuinely, this has to be the most mental, the most extreme mental gymnastics / delusion I've ever heard. This is ridiculous. And so the Minecraft kid's dad is planning false evidence on someone and accusing them and then trying to ruin their lives is something that we could sue you over. And the subscriber's just like, you're threatening to sue me over your son stealing my phone. And the Minecraft kid's dad's like, my son did not steal anything. Very clearly, you're just a hooligan who wants trouble. And the subscriber at this point is realizing that this is truly a lost cause. So the subscriber kind of realizes that he's stuck and that at the end of the day, he's not going to win this. Obviously, the dad is in his own world. But the good news is he has his phone back. So the subscriber says, you know what? I'm just going to walk away from this. I have my phone. I don't care. And the Minecraft kid's dad is like shouting at him like, you know, you're probably going to see us in court because of this, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Like all that, right? And he goes over to the chaperone and the chaperone's like, what's the fuss? And the subscriber's like, yeah, this dad is like mad that I exposed the fact that his son stole my phone. And so this apparently the chaperone's like, oh yeah, like that family's kind of crazy. Yeah, just like straight up, yeah, they're kind of whack, bro. Like, not gonna lie. And so, yeah, the subscriber takes the L in a sense, but he also kind of takes the W because at the end of the day, like, he gets his phone back and that's all that matters. And when he gets back home, his mom's like, how's the tension or whatever? Like, sorry, we didn't pick you up sooner. Like, did you see our text? And the subscriber's like, I did not see your text. I actually have a pretty good story why I didn't. Click on the video on screen right now if you want to support the channel and if you're bored. And yeah, thank you. Peace.